Futures little change here once again this morning, coming off another negative showing yesterday, but pretty positive week overall as we get set to not only wrap up the month, but wrap up the first quarter of the year. Pretty impressive numbers overall for the month for all three U.S. markets. The S&P and the NASDAQ still in positive territory for the month, about 5%. The Dow lagging ever so slightly, 4% higher for the month of March. For the quarter, the Dow, the S&P, both down about 3% on the quarter. The NASDAQ obviously leading the decliners, down about 7% for the first 3 months of the year. Coming off a bit of a negative showing, as I mentioned yesterday, for all three, the Dow and the S&P, both snapping four-day winning streaks. The Dow down about 0.2%, the S&P about 0.5%, the NASDAQ 1.2%. We just got the weekly jobless claims numbers there at 8:30 coming out, basically in line with expectations. Number of things to be aware of this morning. Oil prices, one of those. The Biden administration coming out saying they're going to release a whole bunch more oil stock into the market. OPEC also increasing outputs until their next meeting in May. So we'll have a look at oil stocks coming up to the downside this morning. And Mullen back on watch. Yeah, big move yesterday, as the CEO says, a fairly large company is going to buy their cars. It's Thursday, March 31st, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. The U.S. core PCE price index out there at 8:30 as well, 5.4% versus 5.5% expected. So also basically in line with expectations. Not really seeing much of a reaction for the overall markets. There we go. Look at how the board stands. One is up 0.06, the other down 0.06. The S&P and the Dow, the NASDAQ, yeah, it's positive. There's that. Everything else kind of red, especially crude oil. Again, 6%, pushing 6% right now for crude to the downside. We'll have a look at some of the oil stocks coming up here this morning. Again, the Biden administration going to release a whole bunch more stockpiles into the market to kind of at least relieve some of the pressure, maybe as far as stocks are concerned for oil in the market right now. OPEC saying as well they're going to increase their output until May. But anyways, good morning, guys. It's Thursday. It is the last day. Can you believe it's the last day of the quarter today?
I can believe it, although, like, right before we came on, I was under my breath. I was like, oh, yeah, it's the end of the month today. And the end of the quarter. Like you said, big story. I mean, oil's moving the most, I suppose, so we're going to be looking at some of that. 180 million barrels when their reserves are at the lowest level in 2 decades. Yeah, we'll see how that one works out. But the last time they did the releases, they were significantly less than this and didn't really move the markets as much. This is a pretty aggressive move. So you're going to have to be tracking Oxy. Well, I mean, you don't have to, but you're going to be watching some of the oil stocks. And this is going to be that kind of a day to trade. You're even at that 50 period. So there's a lot for us to get to. Mullen is on the move. There's a few low floaters in there that are also currently making moves. ISPO is making moves along Chevron back in play. And UiPath, wow, that's of the earning names that ended up moving. I don't think it was a surprise that one did. Walgreens, last I checked, wasn't doing a heck of a lot, but I'm not surprised by that at all. Yeah. UiPath was the only thing on the board that I think we thought was going to be double-digit mover either way.
Yeah, I think Walgreens is like down 2% or something like that. Not much. Yeah, okay, you guys want the sticky note? Okay, I'll do it. I have it here. I'll just send a tweet out right now. There it is, sticky note gone. So there you go, find it at Trader TV, Sean. You guys asking for it in the chat, you got it. We have Longeveron on the sticky note today. We have Mullen on the sticky note today. We have Neo on the sticky note today. We have a bunch of things, and the watch list is full too. Watch.tradertv.live. We're super excited to be back. Longeveron, like, wow, big pop, man. 36% upside here. More drug-related news, obviously, and you're gonna see a 950 top. So we're gonna wait for that. I guess I gotta pay for shorts on this name, but I don't have any right now. But that 950 top looking pretty juicy there on LGVN. So we're going to watch to see if it takes that out. Who knows if it does, but it's only 8:30, so we got an hour to go here, Brennan, and lots to talk about.
Yeah, fan favorite, Longeveron, back to the upside this morning. Big move for them. We'll talk about that. BNTX as well, announcing a share buyback, which is watching. BioNTech, remember, reported yesterday, didn't really do much, came all the way back to the downside. Negative this morning as well. Before we go any further, let's bring in Miss V. Good morning.
Good morning, trading family. Thank you for joining us today. I wish you a great, profitable trading day. Please make sure you like this video and let's get it started, Brandon.
Yeah, let's get it started, guys. Lots to discuss here as we head through the pre-market. Get you set for the open coming up. This was after market yesterday, but worth a note heading towards the open this morning for Datadog, DDOG, not really doing anything in the pre-market, but they said after the close yesterday, they're partnering with Microsoft for the Azure Cloud Adoption Framework for their platform. So DDOG had a bit of a pop after market yesterday for that. There's also Walgreens we spoke of at the end of the day yesterday. I mean, not really doing anything either off of earnings, but not one that typically does.
No, it does. It just typically doesn't, and it's not going to be the most volatile name in the world, but it's a solid company that pays a decent dividend. You can see when the market's been going crazy, Walgreens did a heck of a lot of nothing. It was actually a beat, despite what you see happen here today. There was a spike up, and you basically have not even broken the range. So it's been in a $3 range while the market has gone ham in the last month, and that sort of tells you. And look. You have to think about this from both ends of the spectrum, right? Like when things are going crazy, you want your stable stocks not to be driving you wild. And I think that can be a good sign as well. But overall, not really much of a blowout. It was more solid than great. If it breaks 46, I might have said this in the afternoon show, like this is actually the kind of name, if it breaks to the downward channel and gets into like a couple dollars lower support, just becomes a value to pick up. The other one that was interesting, of course, was reported yesterday is Micron, right? And Micron was a bit of a different story. It had wild swings. I don't necessarily expect that from Walgreens, but you can see on the daily, if you pull it even further back here, you can see on the daily, it's had some support in the low 40s. Like that would be one of those areas. If it were to break, you might start to see some interesting prices. It did, just gonna throw it out there, it did have the old death cross-Aruni before, did I just even say that? Before earnings, and that's not always a good sign. So you could see testing of these levels down below. Maybe it doesn't happen today, but certainly not the most bullish sign, despite what was a good quarter from them.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't look at it. I don't expect it to move a whole hell of a lot. I don't know much about Walgreens Boots Alliance or anything like that. But yeah, for Micron, I mean, Micron was one of those names yesterday that just kept going down after what we thought was a good quarter. We got out of the way. We traded it pretty aggressively early and made some money on it. And then it just tanked the rest of the afternoon, and we were able to get quick hits, or quick ins and outs here, and then one last hit. Actually, two hits. The last two we tried to go long into that print, and the close was nasty yesterday. You guys all saw that. We called that the possibility of the Nasdaq hitting that 1.5%. It did do that. It comes all the way to the downside. A little bit of relief here after market, and then now today Micron trying to make those lows again. So you got to watch out for a 78 break on this name today, as the Nasdaq just pushing lower now. Micron pays like a 0.25% dividend. I mean, you don't hold this name for a dividend, but I do think that it's probably a little too low now, maybe. There goes LGVN right now, taking out 250. So we are now long the very first trade of the day for me. LGVN here, Longeveron through. Here we go. We're already started again right now, guys. And if you don't like the noise, then you might want to share in this channel, because if this starts going up, we're going to have another big one. And we're just starting again today. I mean, how many days in a row are we going to do stuff like this, guys? Like back to back. There it is, another profitable trade for your boy. 13 cents in the money. This is what we're doing. We're starting it off already. We're getting elevated again, guys. Like, hey, it is what it is, man. If you don't like winners, you can watch on the wrong channel. Let's go back over to Brendo.
Yeah, remember for LGVN, guys, 2 million share float on that stock. So all the room in the world to the upside for that one today, definitely. The other big name that we were mentioning at the end of the day yesterday, not a good report for UiPath, larger than expected loss. Their forecast, even worse. So huge move down for Path, guys.
Yeah, look, when you have those growth names that have made such a big run off the bottom, or at least decent runs off the bottom, I suppose like 25% off the bottom isn't very good when you've seen other stocks double up, but it's still a pretty healthy run. Look, it just got absolutely trounced. It got through aftermarket, the all-time low, broke 23.70, and that was just the gap. You know, you can see what happens on earnings. Earnings are insane if you trade them after market, guys. I mean, these moves are completely nonsensical. But when this happens, the first thing I'm going to think about is, okay, it's broken into new uncharted territories. Is there room to the downside? And you have to start thinking about that kind of a thing. It's not a gigantic short interest. It is about 6 or 7% when I checked. So it's not one of those 20 or 30 where you're worried it rips your face off. But if it gets back above that channel of support where it bounced a couple of weeks ago and got in that run, then you'd be a little bit concerned. So anything above that 25, 25 and a half, and you almost need to give it up. Well, you don't have to, but I mean, I'm getting out of any short that I grab that breaks out of that level. Just going to get out of it. That's how I stayed afloat on Rivian yesterday and was able to cash the top. And if it makes a press higher, I'd expect 27, 28. That would be the top end of the channel when it made the double top, or so the bottom end of the channel when it made the double top. That's where I'd expect resistance to come in. So pretty simple. I like the short trade here on UiPath. Once it breaks out at 25 and a quarter, we'd be giving that trade up. I didn't chase it all the way down to 23 and a half, but I am sitting at about 24 quarter.
All right, we're just watching the cash come through for LGVN, but UiPath. Okay, so here we go. I wrote it down that we liked some of these levels. This is the number 2 name on the sticky note. So if you're looking for some areas there, yeah, I think you got to take this short. Obviously, if you come up anywhere near this 25 mark, give it to about 26, 27, something like that in there. You could easily pop back to the north side here, but not a good number. They 2 quarters ago was profitable, then all of a sudden last quarter not. So, they throw that, crazy number out there. They lost, what, $60 million or something like that. Might have even been lower than that. 60, no, that's barrels. What am I looking at? There it is. Yeah, 60, yeah, loss. There it is, 63 million after turning a profit of 26 million the quarter before. So not a good number for UiPath, and then not a good guide as well. I own the shares through ARC. I told you about that. But that's just part of the ETF. So I'm not too worried about this name, but again, that 22 bottom looms as well. I feel like it might be a long if we get back down here near 22, but we're going to try to play the short. If it does rip up, then we'll be in it. And then, like I said, we'll figure out how fast it's going, if it's going upside here for us, and then that will judge sort of where we wind up getting out, like depending on how it ramps there. I just want to check the short interest. It's only 5-6%, so it's not like it's a huge short interest there. And then we do know the problem is that we know this is an ARC name, so Cathie Wood will probably be in there buying at some point today. So we do have to wait to see, where that pop comes from when it comes in, and that's why I'm thinking like $22 could be something that she looks at. There's the bottom there yesterday of 22. Where's my daily chart on UiPath here quickly, guys, for that one. We're already at these bottoms, so that is the bottom, $22. So let's wait to see where we go here with UiPath today, but wouldn't be surprised if it started to scream a little bit to the north side. And if it does, there's 28 bottom. I don't want to be short into 28 because that means I'm short like 25, 26, 27, and I don't know if it's going to retrace back down. But if it does start to get up there, we have to watch 28 as a short, but the short's going to be starting to be built at about 25.
Yeah, monster move for sure. We'll touch on that again coming up here, guys. Let's bring in Luis Barbado, owner and operator of the Day Trade the World floor over in Barcelona, Spain. Good to have you as always, Luis. It's a good morning, actually, because we have a couple of old school fan favorite small cap stocks moving around this morning that I know you were trading and interested in, way back in the day last year when we were discussing these. And I'm speaking of Clovis Oncology and also Longeveron. So CLVS and LGVN. Give me your take here to start things off here this morning. Welcome back to small cap world.
Yeah, as you say, welcome back to the low float traders. We were waiting for this for kind of months. I saw statistics last week of number of stocks gapping up over 30% in the December, January, and February, and it was really low, gapping up 30%. And March, we are having more stocks gapping up every week. So that's a good news. And second part of this statistic was how much was the percentage of this gapping up keep running after the opening. So how much of those 30-40% gapping up movers keep running during the day, and how many of them bleeding down. And the percentage of gapping up keep running was higher than last 3, 4, 5 months. So good news for the small cap world, as you say, for short-term traders and longer traders. So it's good for us. As you say today, LGVN is a stock to watch. Just broke 950 resistance with volume. So let's see if we will have a nice stock there, 40% up, 4 million float only with 16, 17, 50% short float. So it's a nice watch today, yeah.
Yeah, let's watch to the upside for LGVN as well. Mullen Automotive, another one that was doing all kinds of volume over the past couple of days. We get this note from the CEO yesterday suggesting that a fairly large company is going to buy their vans, whatever that means, in the near future. So give me your take on MULN. Huge move yesterday.
Yeah, as you say, whatever it means, the news, but we have volume and volatility. It was very active last week. It went from $1 to $4. And then we got like 5-6 days of a calm market for MULN. And yesterday popping up with huge volume, very, very high volume. And the level 2 is really worth to watch. Thousands each side. You can get fill easily, no slippage with huge positions. It is really a nice stock to trade with the news. $4 round number is in the goal probably today. If keeps with volume, but the more important for us is the level 2 is really a precious, huge bids and offer, easy to get in and out, and a lot of clues of who is buying, who is selling, how much pressure they're putting in. So it's definitely a stock to watch for the volume and volatility.
Yeah, it's an interesting move here in the pre-market, trying to hold some of the highs from yesterday as well. And I like the fact that you brought up that $4 level. I wanted to just show the daily chart here real quick, if we can, Luis, to just kind of emphasize the fact that, you know, this was, when it first came to market, you know, 13, 14, 12, 11, like it's got a ton of room to the upside if we can get, that's that 4 level you were talking about there, a bit of a pivot. But yeah, monster volume yesterday, a lot of room to go still to the upside.
Yeah, 4 is the pivot number. As you say, we might get there and consolidate. We might see $6 for the next level, which is already a very important resistance for the long term. But most important, we have volume and volatility, so you can get easily in the trade in this one. Today, also, we are Clovis, as you said, that's the main watch for today. ICEA on earnings is gapping up with volume and nice price action as well, and ISPO plus 28% right now. I think it's another stock to watch.
Yeah, ISPO, low float name, doing all kinds of volume here in the pre-market. I want to get your opinion as well on the meme stocks, Luis. How has your week been as far as, I mean, it's hard to avoid AMC, GME also going crazy again.
Yeah, going crazy, AMC. One very tough day for us on AMC. The day it went 40% up, but next day, more calm market, up and down with huge volume. Easily to predict what was going on in the level 2. Was very nice AMC action. Game, not so much volume for the volatility it had. I think AMC was easier to trade, but those two stocks were very active. One stock we've been looking, I think Sean was talking about, was NIO. Okay, yesterday is a round trip plus 10% down to 0 almost. Very nice move with huge volume and a lot of noise during the movement up and down. So it was very interesting stock as well, NIO. And we're having an eye as well on AMD and NVIDIA, two techno stocks which has a lot of volume. AMD is in a healthy pullback to 116, 115. Let's see if it keep with the trend again up to $130.
Yeah, back on watch on a downgrade today for AMD in negative territory here. Luis Barbabo from the Day Trade the World floor in Barcelona, Spain. We appreciate your time as always. Best of luck today.
Thank you very much, Brendan.
Have a great one. There we go. Number of ideas, guys. ISPO. There's no real significant news on this thing, but definitely worth a watch as well.
Yeah, the ones that have absolutely no catalyst, it's a lot of times it's just a lot easier to think about, you know, just playing a relief or pullback kind of a thing on some of those. And I don't think that ISPO is likely to get the same enthusiasm, I could be wrong, enthusiasm as Clovis or Longeveron, being names that there's people that, you know, are invested in it, have watched them before. And even if you get mild catalysts, sometimes you get a little more volume. And I think that's borne out here. ISPO has traded half the amount of volume and already pulled back. I was looking for, someone asked in the chat with my shorted no, but I was looking at 12 to 1250. You can kind of see on the 15-minute chart, like this is where it rolled over and then just started this slow grind down. It gaps in. It couldn't quite get there. Maybe it has a second run in it. I would look to see if it bounces off $10. But that's the channel that I would have thought you could have that short in front of. It seems like it's already put in a bit of a turn. It could be a pop and fade off the current high if it gets second leg in it, about 9, just into 930, and then we'll try to look at that one at the open. But that might have already put in its little 10% reverse.
Yeah, I'm only in one right now. It's going to be Longeveron. I'll probably just stick with that, but ISPO, obviously, a nice little mover as well. We'll see what happens here. Longeveron just touched 975 again. I don't know. We've already gotten it out, so we're still holding on to 40%. Let's see if it goes upside there. 9 o'clock is coming, and that's when we start to see maybe a little bit more volume pop in here at what we've noticed in the past. So let's see if the traders come in and start to buy this name up one more time. We already took that break. Sometimes breaks don't work. We came all the way from $7. So when you wake up today, I feel like there could be some selling here on Longeveron. So we'll have to wait to see. But right now we're stuck long and holding it on purpose. I mean, we could be out of this thing. Let's just see if it does moon a little bit. We're already out at 60%, and we'll watch Longeveron here today, Brendan.
A few analyst moves, as always. There we go. Oil on this side of the board. Interesting to see oil on this side of the board with oil to the downside today. So upgrades for Marathon and Oxy. Lululemon, we mentioned yesterday, 5 below on here as well, higher in the pre-market. There's AMD, as I was mentioning, Barclays to the downside on AMD. Dell, UiPath, and Wells Fargo. It's worth mentioning on UiPath, there was 5 or 6 price target cuts as well for Path, guys.
Target to $40 on the downgrade. Always, anytime we see that, I'm like, I'm kind of curious where they had the price target on that one before.
Oh, Path or
on Path?
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
But the one that stands out to me there is the upgrade on Oxy today, and probably the only time in a long time, I'm actually thinking about a short opportunity on Oxy, and I get it. Usually, long-term, releasing strategic oil reserves has not been a big deal. This is the biggest move they've made. And I do feel that given what's happened the last couple of sessions, if you can just look at the 15, a lot of these really good opportunities, you get these really sharp pullbacks in Oxy. And if you've got a good level to go long off of, that's usually been pretty good. I kind of feel like that is not necessarily that 55. I'd almost want us testing like a really deep dip price when you've had this downward channel. But if we get a spike, I like this 58.25 area. It's just putting in these lower highs. And if you look at it, like pull back, you get a couple of humps here, and then when it tries to run back, it goes to that sort of next level down. We get a turn at 60, 61 or so. It does the same thing, essentially, when it breaks this. So you could have tried the short there, a nice little tight stop at 58, risk about 25 cents. It does the same thing off of 59. And now I'm just sort of looking back to the lower high off of these levels, and that's going to be 58.25. So if it pops up, I'm going to try and short like 57, 57.5, something along those lines with 58 quarters and out. But you got to be watching oil futures, right? Like you don't need them breaking a key level when you're getting into position. I say that over and over again, but you got to put it up there. At least have that as your barometer. That's your futures. It's the same way you'd watch the Qs and not be thinking about shorting something when 15,000 is holding on the NASDAQ. Maybe it's going to bounce off of that kind of a level. It's the same thing when you're trading Oxy and looking at the oil futures. But every single one of these spikes, you see that big spike up, goes parabolic, and if you get the right level, turns at your level, you get the short. If it blows right through it, then either you can avoid it because it was too much momentum going in, or you just have to take that hit, and I'm looking for no worse than 50 cents.
Yeah, I was going to look. I saw Lululemon over there. Lululemon's been rocking here for the last couple of days. Obviously, this was the earnings day, big spike up from 350, basically 345, up to 390 there. So it's a big move up for Lululemon. And now today they get the upgrade. So this might be a name you want to watch. If you're able to buy this anything lower, I think it's good. I mean, they came out, good report yesterday. We saw the move right here just rip up to the upside. A little bit of a dip down to 360, and then it took off up to 390, back in now, and just kind of hovering. Remember, yesterday we did have that down pull in the market. So that's that coming back in right there. So, we'll have to watch out to see what happens here with Lululemon, but it's right at some nice levels. Plus you get the upgrade. So yeah, like maybe a dip down to 370 or so. I mean, it can depend on what the market does, but definitely a name that you could take if you're not into Lululemon. Got a nice upgrade, got nice earnings report come through on the daily chart. If it even loads, no, it's not going to load, is it? Maybe it is. Here's the big move up. This is what I mean. I don't know if you want to, you could start a position right here. You don't want to buy always want to buy high quality names. I consider Lululemon one of those. But like when it's done this, it's kind of like you should have been buying on the way down. It's like we talked about Costco the other day as well. Costco's all the way up here at its all-time high, but I think Lululemon has possibilities of retracing to there. So let's just wait to see where it goes. But I think a buy between 350 and 360 here for Lululemon, and I don't think you'd be sad about that.
A couple of things to mention here. HYMC just popping up, guys, on volume. Apparently the CEO is on Benzinga currently, so nice move for HYMC here, now up 8%, so volume coming into that. Also worth a note, DWAC, and I only say this, not doing anything, but I only say this because remember way back in, I want to say December or January when we were talking about the launch, the official launch, they were saying it was going to be up and operational and fully functional by the end of March. So it's the end of March. Worth a watch today for DWAC.
I thought they got people signed up, but then what? They didn't launch. Remember, they had like a big sign-up party or something like that.
It was in the app. It was in the Apple App Store.
Yeah, but then it wasn't
in the U.S.
here in Canada,
and then we couldn't find it here in Canada, and I don't know. But we'll see if there's anything to it today. I think HYMC might be a little more interesting. It's not to harp on DWAC, but like everything was making these crazy runs. Right? You saw the meme stocks go, squeezes to the left of them, to the right of them, the market going crazy, and DWAC didn't do much of anything. So that's a bit of a disappointment for I think anyone that saw that is getting another leg going into this end of the month. But HYMC, if you look at this like quadruple top yesterday, I mean, just look at this 260 to 275 area here, which is what we're essentially turning into right now. And that's the kind of thing when it's already kind of capitulated, you got to ask yourself, okay, well, is there going to be some chop, maybe a slowdown in that range? I would tend to think so. It's a great base of support that it's breaking out from. That's the thing to keep in mind. Like if it were to reverse here and, you know, you get that turn at 70, that is a get out in front of these lows because I can absolutely expect people are going to want to reload. When it bounces off of this capitulation and then bounces off at 225, then puts in higher lows and now rallying off of a low like that, that's the kind of level that usually you're thinking about buying. And oh, by the way, it was also the previous top. The day you're fighting it all day long in the short, it ends up holding that relative high for the next half week or so. So I wouldn't get too frisky about getting more than 10% out of a short out of that top. I got to go pay for locates because this wasn't on the radar till 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, HYMC. With AMC. Look, you talked about DWAC. I mean, I almost prefer CFVI. I just feel like, and again, they're all SPACs, so it's all good. But, this one you guaranteed to get $10 if something goes wrong. I don't think anything is going to go wrong. I think it will turn. You might not even want this to turn into Rumble, because the minute it does, then, it de-SPACs and then that $10 is gone. So for now, you have that bottom. But I just think that, you have this 11. There's talk about. And look, we love YouTube and things like that, but obviously that goes with limitations. And I don't know if Rumble's going to censor or not, or what their stance is going to be. But apparently, it's going to be the medium of choice there for DWAC, for the truth, I guess. And then so when you're looking at DWAC, you do have an opportunity to get back into this $40, $50 mark, which is not great. So if you go from 70 and you start to trend down a little bit, these bottom support is 50. So you're gonna have to give up like 30%. Just to see what happens down here at 50, which is why I'm thinking I like CFVI a little bit better, because if they both work, then the Truth Social I think goes up more, but CFVI just a little bit of a safer play. I feel like, down here, you got to see what happens maybe around 11. So you're not giving up that much to come back in. Maybe, like I said, if it's $11, if you lose 20%, you're back down to 10 or so. So, that's kind of the area that I'm looking at. I'd rather be an investor in CFVI. But for me, really, until either one of these products gets launched, I just don't feel like there's too much of an opportunity here.
On Benzinga there for HYMC. Apparently 11:45, guys, so a little bit of a note there. So watch out for HYMC maybe a little bit later in the morning. Let's bring in Arun. We'll get a check of the overall market. Brought to you today, guys, by The Small Exchange. Check out The Small Exchange, guys. They're making it so much easier to access futures markets. There's no pattern day trading. There's less capital required. Check them out with the QR code there, guys. Get started in the futures markets. Again, we'll get a take on how the market is setting up here from Arun. Back, we're trying here, Arun, anyways, but a bit of a choppy start to the day.
I mean, that's the name of the game recently, right? We move a little bit and then we go sideways, and then the following day we may move a little bit more, or we just do absolutely nothing. We start strong maybe, and then we fall off a little bit. And we saw that yesterday, where it looked like, for the most part, for the first half of the day, it looked fairly decent, like a chance to go up, and then we kind of fell off right at the end there. But yet, in the final half an hour, we rallied right back to close near the evens. So here we are. Where are we at? We're at 96.75 right now. Not too far off from where we closed, 0.02% up on the S&P side, and Nasdaq up 0.23. Nothing's really changed in terms of levels. We still got that 45.65 as 45.65 to 45.60 as the potential support level. That's it. No resistance up top. If we can find a long using that level, everything's going to have to be done off of that one level. So if we can find a long in front of that somewhere, maybe in the 90s, maybe a mid 80s, that'll work too. A decent setup inside of that range. Inside that area that we can use against that 60 area for a potential long, that'll work. If we lose the 60s, you can flip directions, maybe look for some shorts. If we take out the highs, which is going to be from a couple of days ago, it's going to be just north of 30, 46.30. If we get north of 46.30, then maybe another set of longs could be on the table, depending on how we break that top. But it's the last day of the month, right? It's the last day of the quarter. It's the last day of the month. I would argue that there's got to be some volatility pickup. This is a conversation I just had actually with another trader. This has to be a day where volatility has to come back, right? Yesterday, we kind of lost it a little bit for the most part, and then had some right at the end. But again, it's the last day of the month, last day of the quarter. Hopefully volatility picks up. If not, we're going to be in for a long ride here until we can get those numbers out tomorrow morning with the jobs report there.
Yeah, big day coming tomorrow. Thanks, Arun. We'll check back in tomorrow morning. Again, 8:30 non-farm payrolls Friday for March. So make sure you're with us tomorrow. We'll take you through that, see what it means for the overall market heading into, Q2 as of tomorrow. That's the link to the watch list, guys. Make sure you grab that. Absolutely free every single day for you. All you need is your email address. You can have that. We do all your homework for you. Let's jump into the first thing on the watch list this morning. We'll talk about oil here again. If you missed it, the Biden administration coming out saying they're going to release or considering releasing 1 million barrels per day from stockpiles, which is absolutely monstrous considering what the oil market has been put through with this Russia-Ukraine situation. Also, OPEC meeting today, guys. They also said they were going to increase their output for 1 month. Again, next meeting in May. So we'll see what happens here for crude, but negative so far.
Just quickly here, we're in Mullen, so maybe Mullen has something to do with crude because of the EV space. But here we go. We're into Mullen now, back down into that $3 range. We're holding on to the long Chevron, and we're going to average into that, and I'll explain that in a second. But here we go. We're into Mullen. I'm not holding this one past this 280 spot, so we will take an average in back down here in the 90s if it goes, but we are long now at 02. We just sort of sat there. We wanted this trade through yesterday. We did. I thought I was trading it yesterday, but maybe it's not showing up. We traded Mullen. It's a good stock. I like the name here. Let's just see if it goes. 13.8 million shares. Nothing but love for Mullen to the upside. And then also, I was just talking to Brian Sprague here on the chat, and it's like, okay, video disliked because we talked about DWAC there. And the thing is like, we're just gonna, we try to stay political neutral. I think we do good on that. And, I appreciate everybody to come to the show and watch it. And if you dislike it for those reasons, and that's fine as well. It's just, we talk about what's moving, and, you may be working in the oil patch, and therefore you don't want us to talk about EV space. So that's fine as well, right? But, we're gonna look at what's moving, and we're here to try to make some money and try to educate and give our politics, opinions to keep them to ourselves. And hopefully you guys do that as well. But hey, free speech, you guys can do whatever you want. That's just our sort of look, right? And it's like, and I don't mind if people dislike. I mean, that's great. I mean, whatever, the algorithms pick up everything, and I think it'll work out for us. But anyways, that's just that. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for your support, regardless of your political affiliation. With one notable exception. There's only one wrong opinion out there in the world. Everything else have your own. It's that pineapple doesn't belong on pizza, and that's a firm stance. So, you know how I roll it. Now you're going to get a lot of dislikes. Now you're going to get a lot of dislikes. Here goes Mullen, by the way. Just took some nice profit. But it's worth pointing out that level, just so we'll look at that 285, because I know your trades didn't show up, right? So Sean had the long off of 280. And on the 15-minute, this is why on Mullen. Like, look at this previous resistance. Come to the chart for a second.
previous resistance when it made the bottom on the 28th. There's your top at 280. When it capitulated from 420, oddly down 1/3. I love when things do this. But anyways, right down a double bottom at 280. And when I was shorting threes, 280 was the best price you were able to get on that wedge to the upside. So that's the reason for giving it to that price area. Clearly, I would expect some buyers to come into that one. But we're just going to go over what we see and trade what's moving. That's what it's all about. Mullen is on that list.
You guys want to talk oil here?
Yep.
Any thoughts on actually trading some oil stocks?
Well, I do want to. So I said I wanted to short Oxy in front of 58. That's about the only play I have right now because I don't see us coming down to the low 50s where I really like the bid on Occidental. I'd watch out for the 50 period if you're watching oil futures. It's bounced off it rather nicely and could do that again today.
Yeah, and we do have. I mean, people. I'm just reading the chat here. We do have. Ms. V is on the chat as well, and be looking for comments and stuff like that to get out of there. And I don't see any. But yeah, look, I like oil. I said the same thing, and today I'm actually going to do it. I mean, let's see what oil actually winds up doing here. But I haven't averaged into XLE. I actually own it's ZEO in Canada on the Bank of Montreal diversified oil and gas portfolio. So, but XLE very, very similar here with the energy. So I like this name. And again, I still think energy works heading into the rest of this year. I mean, I obviously know that oil, if on any sort of a resolution between Russia and Ukraine, oil does come down on that news. So there's no doubt about that. And I am well aware that we could possibly trade back into 68.70 here. Check out ETFs for their dividend if you want it as well. Obviously, between 3 to 4% is a decent yield alone. So just to get that is not bad. 3 or 4% on $76. Excuse me, 10% would be $7. So you're looking at like $3, $2 again. So you have a little bit of cover there. I think you buy this name all the way back to the 50 period. Do we drop back in? Sure. But just that's what's happening, man. Manufacturing, as we get the supply chain all figured out. We talked about the reserves today in oil, right? And so let's just see where we go with this. I want to buy oil. I'm very, very heavily overweighted in tech, so I feel like that's good. I'd rather oil than banks, but I don't know. For right now, I'm going to keep our eye on this, and I don't trade too many oil names, as you guys know, but Oxy and XOM would be the two that I'd look at.
All right, I got ahead of myself here. My apologies. Let's talk about AMC and GME as well, because AMC, I noticed, guys, did get a little bit of a pop along with HYMC there off 24.50. I mean, yesterday, pretty negative for these, straight to the downside all day long. We're down another 3.2 here for AMC.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, man. I'm just chugging this water back today. Okay, so AMC right now. I don't know. Yesterday was a wild day. So, I mean, you gave it off. We talked about that with Luis earlier. Yeah, obviously when I think he was talking about they didn't do too well on the day where it was halting there. This day they did well. It was this day where it ramped. That's what he said. When it ramps up. So this is how, and just for you guys, and I could have asked Luis this, but I know for a fact that like a lot of traders here at Day Trade the World got handed to them this day because they average into the short, right? And there goes Mullen. A nice little move again, upside for MULN there. So it's a nice little for that one. We'll talk about that in a minute. But here's AMC just ramped up. What a fantastic day this was. We actually had the 21 long, okay? And we rode this name, and it was a wicked day. Yesterday was pretty good as well. Was that yesterday or was that 2 days ago, the day it halted? It seems like you said, that was 2 days ago. These halt days where we had a big monster move off the open, halt, and then just backing down and around. And then yesterday we came in, and it just kind of tricked us early. It got back up to that 30 level, and then just all afternoon kind of gave back everything. So it's been quite a nasty move down. I mean, if you just draw, anyone can do these. I'm literally just doing it right now. But there it is. So if you look at that number right here, on this line down, then you have to sort of get back up to this. And it's kind of funny because it kind of coincides right here with $26. So if you can get back to like around $26 here on AMC, which we're at 25, and then of course, because I do that, the line disappears. Like I resize the chart and the line's gone. But anyways, if you come up to this 26, I like it. I wrote it down here. It's the #1 stock on the sticky note. And what I wrote down was this basically 24 support that we're trying to see right now. You do also have 22 right here. that I was thinking about. So a couple back in December and January, you had some nice little 22 areas that we danced around. So I'm looking at those as areas for support. And then just back into here, right where we started to get going, you know, you kind of barcoded a little bit here at 2021, then the breakthrough 22. So I'd like to test 22. I don't know if 22 is going to be coming in today. It's just if we get another one of these drops. Remember yesterday at, I mean, let's just call it like this. It was $28 at 1 o'clock and we wound up at 25. So you lose $3 real quick. We could lose 2. And if we lose 2 now, then that's sort of the area of concern for me. That's where I like it. I like AMC down near 24 flat for a starter position. And then we'll see about holding that 22. And if you're going to break long, I like the break long at 26. So those are my orders. I already have them in. We're going to be buying at 24 flat. We're going to watch to see what happens at 22. So we're buying at like 22.50. We'll dump it at 22 or so. Then if it takes out 26, we're going long. So that's sort of my plan of action there on AMC. And I know Neil looks at GME.
Yeah, and there's one obvious, it's sort of the same thing. When you see a level on the daily here, and GameStop has run away from 160 in either direction, you've seen that since, I guess, the last quarter of last year, really, and we've broken through that price. Now you're pulling right back into it. It's pretty simple. Like, you know, like Sean said, in front of that 22, in front of 159 is going to be the level for me. Now, this 160, 159 channel, it's had wick tops above, so you got to give it a little bit of room. If it dips down into that price, I want to be long in front of 160s. The reason for a stop at 159 has another thing too. Like if you can trap shorts, you know, you trap longs on breakouts and then fails and you go short. It's the same thing in the other direction, right? You could break 160. If it doesn't get through 159, it could trap people that are shorting that, thinking it's going to fill the gap into the downside, and then you've got yourself to long with less pressure in front of it, so less day traded pressure in front of it. In fact, people that have to buy back out of it. My 15-minute chart doesn't want to cooperate. It looks like it crashed on me, but either way, if there is a short to be had, goodness, 175. That's the price I was looking at, 75, 77 on GameStop, but when you've had that pullback, the 2-day pullback off 200, the first thing I look for is a consolidation. And that would be off of 160, Ms. V.
Hey guys, around 18 minutes left until the open. I know you will be busy trading, so please, let's get over 1,000 likes as soon as possible. Team, please support the community, smash the like button, and let's continue, Brandon.
Yeah, let's continue along. Just be aware, guys, oil making a move back higher here. I can show you it on decent volume. OPEC just came out and said they're not going to, or going forward, they're not going to use the International Energy Agency's data when it comes to making decisions on output. So that seemed to cause that bit of a spike for oil. All right, UiPath, we mentioned briefly there at the beginning, if you joined us right off the bat. Not a good report, both the numbers and forecasts to the downside for Path.
I just want to say a big shout out to all Trader Nation, Sticky Note Nation out there. Thank you so much already. Already 120 likes on this thing and 30 retweets. Fantastic. And look at this, man. Long back to $3 on Mullen. It's written right here, guys. And this is exactly what we did. So we're long at 3. We're out at 306. We're out at 311 there, or 310, whatever that price was. I think it was a 310. 310. So now it's at 308. So there it is right there. And then we also, because we're talking about UiPath, on our watch list, tradertv.live, 2 resources for you. Also, the sticky note and the watchlist.tradertv.live, as the futures are taking a tank here right now. But they swung to a loss, huh? Like last quarter was profit, this quarter is a loss. That's not good. That's not going to work out for a lot of shareholders there. I'm going to put the sticky note in the chat if you can find it at TraderTV. Sean, go have a look to see some of the notes that I made. But UiPath, again, you know, I did own this name. We got out of it when there was a seller report back at $40. I actually traded it live on the show for you. There, I don't even know if I was allowed to do that, but I guess I wasn't in the stock on the show. So, but there it is, a monster miss. It started to rally. Neil already talked about that. It was only off 25% from its bottom. A lot of names are up higher than that, but I think the ARK fund itself was only up about 25% from its bottom or so. So that might have been 50% though for ARK off its bottom. But UiPath again coming in. I like the short through at 25. So my order's already in there. Shorting this, if we get up to $25, we're going to sit there and we're going to short it through there. And then I don't know. I don't want to put on a huge position until I see it fail at that level. But we'll short it into 25. 25, and then we'll see what happens up here, 26, 27. But for right now, that 22 looks like that's the all-time low. So we're going to see if that holds again. But I don't really want to play in the middle. We've seen Lululemon. We saw Micron yesterday. There's been other ARC names that have come out, and I say ARC names, but they're just like high growth names, like high valuation, high growth names come out and sort of surprise us, where the numbers have been bad, but then it's ripped up because of short interest or various things like that. So let's have a look. Even good names like CrowdStrike. Remember, they were up great. They were up like 12 or 13%. It almost came all the way back down to flat on their earnings day and then started to rip up. So I kind of feel like UiPath might relieve some of that, because most people, I would think, Neil, were thinking short on UiPath. So
that's where the bets would be.
Exactly. So if you come in today and you're in the money 20 or so %, I'm wondering about a possible early cover.
That's why for me, like if it breaks to 25, it's like a regroup kind of thing. And it's more like 25 and a quarter. I get that on the chart for the high of the day. But just as long as you have it out, I think you can be all right. So I'm sort of with that same program, and that's one of those things. It's a short till it's not, and above that 25, it gets to 28, that would be the next level up. I'm going to go to Tel in a quick second. We're going to go back to Brendan, but Tellurian, I'm going to go for a long break off the high if it takes it out, and I want to get a bid back in front of that teens level that we're going long before. Now, I know there was a pullback a couple of days ago and we're reacting to some headlines, but there's more now coming out of Russia regarding natural gas.
Yeah, we were talking about this last week. I think there were some rumors flying around, but apparently Putin has gone ahead and signed a decree on gas coming out of Russia. So anyone buying gas from Russia now has to pay in rubles starting April 1st. And not only that, they have to open a ruble account in Russia to pay for natural gas. So that obviously creates a lot of problems for natural gas markets. They also said future contracts in euros or dollars may also be blocked. So a big move in oil, big move in natural gas there. The futures guys spiking to the downside.
Yeah, so like that's active contracts halted. Like they have long-term contracts and supply, like most of Europe, with natural gas. And I know the U.S. has been talking to Europe for ways that they could somehow handle a bit of that. And that's why you've been seeing just crazy action. Like Tellurian, there's other things you can trade, but Tellurian is one thing to watch. And nat gas futures, as you can see, I like to it's easier for me not flipping back and forth, but spiking back up towards the highs. They're basically flat, but there was a pullback before we just saw those headlines start to come out there. So back in play is going to be some of these nat gas plays. I like Tel. That's the one I've been trading the last couple of sessions to express these moves. I'm going to try for those longs in front of $5. If it's a breakout, then it's likely to that previous high yesterday. I didn't hold to the high, and that was a mistake yesterday. I got trailed out of that last little bit that you're always supposed to try to hit the home run on. But we'll see if we can't do that today.
We wish good health to Tony Pepperoni, but he's not in today. And yesterday, I remember someone said, like, oh, every day Tony's not in, the market goes down. So that's one thing that we'll be watching here today, as the Pepperoni man is not in the building. So we'll see about that one. But yeah, that's an interesting thing for oil there. I mean, they're going to have to force people to pay, or gas, sorry, in rubles. I mean, I don't know. Like you mentioned, that's not going to make Europe too happy. And we'll see. I mean, whatever. The sanctions have already been hammered down on Russia. So I think this is just a way for them to be fighting back a little bit. And again, I don't know. We'll watch gas. I mean, there's some nat gas contracts you can trade as well. I have oil down here. It was down 6 or 7%. It's now only down 4. So a nice little move back up here for crude oil, up to 103.50 right now, off of that 100 bottom. If you look at a daily chart, let's just have a quick look at this daily chart. Well, I guess it's just going to be for this contract. So let's let it load. But it's been bouncing here off of 100. I mean, we did start, this move. Actually, no, it's giving me the whole load, so that's pretty good. It gives us this load down here to 95. It did pop up to that 125 area, came back in, bounced around. So right now we're trying to form, some levels here for crude. So I like this 100. If anything, it did dip down to 95 and then stop. So before we get real worried about oil, I know we were talking about gas there, but before we get worried about that, I think we got to take down 95. So for right now, let it just bounce around here and trade a little bit. For me, as I said, I want to buy on any oil dip. So if we ever get near that, even 100 right now is a good buy for me. And then we'll try to support it at that 95 area.
All right, let's go on to chip makers. We talked a little bit at the beginning of the show on Micron. Futures day lows as well, worth noting, guys. But Micron very, very weak throughout the session yesterday, coming off a really good report. AMD here, Barclays on the downgrade today. I mean, this is what happened in the afternoon. Here we are, day lows as well for AMD.
Yeah, I want to quickly jump to Micron just for someone asked in the chat, what do you have for a bottom on Micron? 75. Channel on Micron is pretty clean on the 15. You can see the 75 bottom. I got away from trading it, which doesn't make any sense to not have actually had the long when it broke out of that range, but it's come and gone. I want to short the top end of the range in front of 80s, and I want to be long in front of 75 on Micron. I think that's the path of least resistance here. So I'm going to go with this one to trade today. Although NVIDIA is about to almost went red as it broke the low. 75 was the bottom of NVIDIA. 72 was that really good long from last week that we definitely love. If that gets to that price, it could be very similar. I don't usually love having both of those at the same time, but it's a good level on both stocks. 72 on NVIDIA, 75 on Micron. That's the only place I like to buy today.
I was just looking at Mullen here. I just give you guys an update. I'm going to get something out if it goes to 14 because that's where VWAP is. Not that we care too much about VWAP when you're talking about a pre-market trade. And then I'm just noticing here that we all have to pay attention to these pre-market tops, right? And so you're going to watch out for this 320, 325 area. We'll take a little piece out. I'm planning on holding half by the time it gets up here. So hopefully we're already out of about 30% of the trade. So if we can come up to 15, then we'll get out another about 10 or so percent, and then upside around this 20 mark, another 10, which means we'll be holding half in case Mullen does blow to the upside. And yeah, you were talking about MU. We talked about that yesterday. What a crazy move to the downside. AMD today, though, gets downgraded. So I don't know. Like I said, I feel red into this into Friday, which is tomorrow now. We talked about how the market I thought would be a little heavy yesterday, and I feel like the same way today. I'm not sure if it's as much, but AMD yesterday just came out almost as if they knew there was a downgrade coming. Never really got going. I mean, it got going, I guess, off the open where we went from 122 to 125. So I shouldn't say it didn't get going, but then really struggled throughout the whole day. I mean, there wasn't too many longs in here, and then today I struggled to find one again. So here we go. Here goes Mullen. Hopefully we'll be able to get out of a little bit of that. AMD just on a 20-minute. Sometimes we say zoom out, and you can see here if you go back, I'm really looking and just pull it down a little bit here, like 113, 114, something like that is where I believe you can start to build this thing. I would start it maybe at this 114, but again, there's a lot of cover down here. It's just a matter of how much risk you want to put on this trade. If the market is down again today somehow 1.5%, something like that, then yeah, we probably do come to this 110 area. So that sucks to say that, but you're already down 2.5% on the downgrade. It's been a little bit of a rough ride. Just to double check, you can look at, I have an interesting story about Intel as well. NVIDIA, I don't think it's going to be down as much today because it didn't get that downgrade right there, but let's just have a quick look. No, NVIDIA's flat today. Does that make any sense? Yeah, I guess so. Here's where we close, and here's where we're opening. So that's going to be maybe the stock to watch. If you like the semis today, look at NVIDIA. I would keep Micron out right now because of the action from yesterday. But again, NVIDIA with some nice bottoms there. And look, I love trading even dollars, and NVIDIA is going to come to 275. So, that's a possibility. When we get the move down here and the futures off the open like I'm expecting, then what you can do is look at this. Here's 275 right here. If we dip down into this area, man, 272 on NVIDIA, forget that, I'm putting the bid right now. At 272, if we can get something down there, then this is really what we like. Let's start this at 273 on NVIDIA, and here goes Mullen, a dime in the money. I am offering right now 14s, so if it gets up there, like I said, we'll take out another 10%, then another one at 20, and then we'll see if we can climb on Mullen. But I like the NVIDIA long there, 273. Let's see if that comes in.
All right, bottom of the list there is, in fact, Mullen Automotive. If you missed it yesterday, they came out and said that, or the CEO in an interview said, a fairly large, quote unquote, fairly large company is going to buy a whole bunch of their van products in the short-term future or near-term future, something to that effect. Anyways, lots of great levels to work off here today, guys, around this 3 areas you said.
For sure, and like the most important one I think is 80 to 85. That's the support level, and until it gets to about 350, 360, that's where I would expect you might see some overhead resistance. I get it, there's a pre-market high, which is always a psychological level as well, but it's a long until it breaks that. And I'm not even thinking about a short on this until we see that $3.50 price. So I'd be out of the long in front of it, and then look to see if it does want to hold or break. And if it gets above this, like turns through 360, maybe consolidates there. There was a good breakout when it did get to last time it was above these prices. You can see back here, there was a pretty clean 350 break that took you to that 420 level. I covered it $4. Missed a turn on it, but either way, those are the key prices for you. And as long as we hold those 80s, might just have to go to that well. Even if it barcodes and gives you scalp trades off of it, it's been a very, very important level, 280 to 285 on Mullen Automotive.
Yeah, and again, it's on our sticky note at Trader TV, Sean. We're long $3 already here on Mullen. I mean, I like the stock, as they say. So we're gonna hold this for a little bit. We are sitting here at 14. There it is. We'll go bang already. The early bangers starting off right now. Nothing like starting your morning with a bang. And there it is right there. So we'll go Ape Nation on some of these. And if you caught that, good for you. And then we're gonna go upside even more. Next offer here, as I said, we're gonna wait for 319, and here we go. You know what's better than one bang, Brendan? Two bangs, and there we go. Let's get this one going. Now up to 319 right now. We're on fire again. And look, if you don't like winners, and I'm telling you, you're watching the wrong channel. Over to Brendan.
All right, number of small caps moving around. We talked about Longeveron. I'll give you my take here. This thing has a ton of room to the upside today. I saw 2 million shares on the float. I know Luis was talking about 4 million shares. Regardless, it's tiny. So just be aware this thing has a lot of room to the upside. This little shelf here is 10 to 10.25. And then above that, there's like 13 up to 15 would be the next stop. So a lot of room on the long side for LGVN, guys.
Yeah, and speaking of LGVN, it's actually about to come back into 9 even. I was saying in the chat when we were talking about this one pre-market before we came on, that this 850, I didn't like the breakout because it had overhead resistance at that 10, but the dip in front of 850 is a bit of a different story, different risk to reward. So I'm sitting on the bid. I was at 875 and it bounced at 880. Now I'm in front of 9 at the open, and I'd add again in front of 960, and then just give this slightly below that 850 level to try and catch a bit of a dip buy on Longeveron. With only about 3 minutes to go, I did get into Tellurian when it took out the top there, so you'll see the 537 long. Now Rivian is another one that, look, it's had a squeeze yesterday. That's probably the best way to explain what happened at 54. It got right through that big 55 level from the previous close and then did one of these. Like, it just spiked to the top and rejected. After it makes a high like that, the first thing I'm thinking about is, you can call it head and shoulders, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like that previous resistance at 54, I want to go right back in front of it because we rejected that breakout that was gangbusters. And as far as I'm concerned, when I see that, I'm going to try the short the next day. So we get a pop in Rivian, going to be shorting into that 54 level. Understand, stopping out if it breaks like 54 and a quarter. I saw what happened overhead of that level last time. I don't want to get caught in that trap to 56.
Yeah, I can't believe we wound up having a $4 winner on Rivian yesterday after getting smoked on it on that move. So Longeveron, I had about 10% of the shares in Longeveron that I did in Mullen. Obviously, one's a $9 name that's going nuts, and Mullen is literally just at the same spot it was yesterday. So a little bit of a different risk profile there for a Mullen versus a Longeveron. But yeah, we're still... even right now, the amount of money that we're in on Mullen, I have to remember to pay for those shorts on Rivian right now, so that's basically what I am doing. But yeah, the plan for Longeveron. So I actually have a bid here, and I'm surprised it didn't get filled. It went down to 875 is where I was bidding. It went down to 880 there. So I'm going to hold this name until we break back down below and cancel my offer, of course, or my out was down here near this 850 mark. If we break below 850 on Longeveron, that's going to be my out. My out on Mullen is 280. So again, that's just sort of how you can sort of tell like what's going on. My out on Mullen is 20 cents lower. My out on Longeveron is $1 lower, right? And so we're going to wait to see if we get that pickup here at 875, and if we do, then we're going to get out at 850 on the way down. So yeah, that's about that for that. So AMC right now, let's have a quick look at that to see where we're going now on AMC. I have a 26 break. If that goes through, then we're going to try the long through 26. Otherwise, we are bidding just to make sure we're bidding. Yes, we are. We're bidding down there at 24 with stop orders out as well to hit if that goes through. That's that. that. Mullen, we've talked about UiPath. We got that short going on. We're waiting for that short near 25 bucks. And then NEO. A name that we didn't get to with only a minute left. I like this down here at 22. Let's check the imbalance locator quickly. Often NEO's on there, but today, there it is. It's on there as a buy. AMC's on there as a sell. Not much else, man. XOM is sell. Anything else that you're trading? Not really any big values. SOS there. Other than that, yeah, not much. AMC. So I'm going to take it off now because there's not much. But I'm going to try along here near 22, understanding that 21.90 or so. I don't want to hold it too far past that. So right now, let's put an order in for NEO to try to get long NEO here near 22 bucks.
Yeah, note on SOS. SOS had an offering. That's why it's down 40% and probably on the imbalance locator. But it hasn't really done much of anything. Down that 40% because of the offering. I'll put it on the radar, but not one I'm looking to trade. Usually post-offering, there's not as much opportunities. Miss V is on the bell. Countdown time 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it. There we
All
go.
righty then, so let's go. Yeah, nice little ring up there. We'll see. There goes Mullen. Yeah, man, we just got a 25 there offer on Mullen. So now here comes the upside. Taking out 25s right now goes Mullen. And then, yeah, you guys saying like, oh, what about your Longeveron trade? Well, it just went right up there pretty nicely there on Longeveron, and now it's fading back in again. So this is a wild ride, man. Like Longeveron just touched 970 there. Okay, and here comes Mullen right back in. So the ride is wild on some of these names. AMC ticking around as well, and the market's coming back in.
Yeah, we're going to do this one for natural gas. Again, Tellurian just popped into that 550 level. Looks like it's on another one of its early runs here. This is pretty much what it did yesterday's open. You get those headlines coming through, and I'm not going to say thank you. Whatever. I'll say thank you to the headline giving us the trade. But if it gets to that 560, that's been a bit of a double top there. And I'm always checking nat gas futures, which are at their high of the day. That's why trimming some of the position as it goes. Oh, of course. When you think about the short pop on Rivian, what does it do? You know what it does. It drops right away. It doesn't actually give you that first move up to fade into. It just drops $2. Oh, my goodness. It does this every single time, man. You want the fade off a higher level, and the day it's the best is the day that it just goes right away. So I'm not going to chase it. I just got Longeveron off of that $9 fade the first time, and now it's right back up towards those 930s and 940s. Yeah, I'm going to scalp a little bit of this out because remember what I said? $10 has that overhead resistance. The 950 had the overhead resistance at 10. I want to make sure if it's a head and shoulders that I'm getting some out in that 950. But so far, so good on the bounce off Longeveron. And, of course, going to hang on to that TEL. I'll buy a dip on Tellurian if I can. But Rivian, man, give me a break.
Yeah, Rivian. Okay, there it is. Yeah, let's go. There goes Longeveron. So a nice little move to the upside right here for that name. So far, so good on LGVN, obviously. So good. Oh, yeah, 960. Let's go Longeveron. The two positions that we're in early, both trying to cash, but we're not in anything else. Let's check out NVIDIA right now. The market did make that move down, but NVIDIA did not go even close to anywhere where we thought. This market really has to come down to get that NVIDIA trade. So let's go over and look at AMD, a name that obviously is down. Oh, where did Longeveron go right there? Wow, $10, 980. Good job, man. We just got out of it, actually. I didn't even realize how far that name was gone there. Nice out there on LGVN. So those of you that were like, oh, man, hard to say that when you're holding LGVN, there's LGVN right there. We're holding it. Yeah, we cashed out of that one, so that was a good trade there. I don't know where it's going to go from here, but maybe $10 is next on the spot for that. Mullen's coming back in, and then what we were looking, I just got excited about LGVN there. It looks like it is going to break through 10, which I still held a little piece, but we're out. So AMD pulling in as well. No trades for me yet. What about NEO? Is that doing anything?
Okay, I got to come back to Mullen because we'll do this. And that $3 level, I like 285 a lot better, but if you want to put in the bottom at 3 and hold it every single time, that's the first leg in. It's been 2s and 3s in, and then start getting out 10s all the way to 25. If it wants to give you that when you're scalping, then you're pretty much going to want to take that almost every single time. Maybe we can actually chew through this $10 level on Longeveron. It is resistance right now. Like, it just got up there and curled. So I took some out in front of 10 even. Now you're just sort of holding on. Like, if it goes 1050 on the daily, I think Brennan was mentioning that, NVIDIA is starting to come downside. So the market, context to this, I get it. All longs right now, but those are all in small cap or individual names. Like TEL is all about natural gas, but the market's coming down. And that means NVIDIA heading through 75, down to that 72 level. Micron, which we're looking at as well, I never got the short. So I wanted to short the pop. It faded right off 78. If we get back to about 78 and a quarter, I'll go for the short. But 75 is where I would like that long trade. Are you kidding me? Rivian's going to hit 50 in like 5 minutes.
Ugh,
Oh, my goodness.
disgusting. So we are long now NIO. We may get long AMC in a minute. NIO, we just took it right here, man, and it's not a great spot. We're long at 07s, but again, this is, well, now it's good because it's at 12. But we're going to see if we can get some out here on NIO. We did like it into that $22 spot there. So as it comes back upside, we got to watch out because my out is actually going to be pretty good, pretty tight. You see the markets coming back in. We do not want to hold this name if it's not going to work. Like, I'm not going to hold the Chinese name into a market tank here because the Chinese names have obviously gone crazy lately as well to the upside. So they have a lot to give back if there's anything wrong. But AMC, but NIO continuing to work. It's a nice positive trade. Ooh la la. Thank you, Ms. V. I like that coffee. Thank you so much for that. And here we go. NIO back up to the upside now. We are long at 07. Let's just see where it flows to, man. We got out 11s and 12s so far, but let's see if it gets a little bit higher. Mullen working as well.
Yeah, it was just I just got into Micron. I said I'd get a bit more aggressive. It drops down into like 76 and a half. With the market falling, short the pop. That was the plan before. I'll get into the first leg and have to take it at the quarters. I'll get more if it rounds off at this pre-market high, but I want to see it slow down and start to curl before we get into it. There's so much room for this range if we were able to take it. Mullen again off of that $3 level. So off of 3 twice, now back into that 320. It has not been able to get through 3 1/4. I think that's why you're taking some profit out in front of it each time. But if it goes, it's got room to 350. It needs to take out that top. And wow, there goes NVIDIA. 75 broken. Still waiting for that 72. Rivian 50, by the way. The bid's nothing. It's like 30,000 shares in the bid. I expected to see some size in the bid of NVIDIA. Rivian. Yeah, nothing there. Falling like an absolute rock. I got to cancel my offer because if I got filled at 54, it means it's come up near 10% very quickly.
Man, look at Mullen all the way to 30 now. What a great trade. And then how does that taste on Longeveron as well, man? Good out there at 10. Let's see if it takes it out, man. Longeveron is making bases like around 920, so you can watch out for that. Let's go. Mullen, man. The explosion continues, man. We gave this trade to everybody a hell of a long time ago, 9 o'clock. Now you're up 10+% on the trade right now. And it's just rocking to the upside here. Wow, Mullen just like, hold my beer, says Mullen, and it just continues to make that move to the upside. We have to we didn't look at UI. Wow, what just happened there? That went up to 350 and stopped.
350
wow,
was a
big
level.
move up to 350, guys, there on Mullen.
Yeah, I just got out of Mullen because of that 350 level. I'm going to get more shares of Micron in a second, but Oxy just popped in. We wanted to short that one off of that 58 level. Screaming right into it. So you wait for your price and it extends up there, but we already have our stop. 58 1/4 is the out on Oxy. You can see it start to pull back here. When I get to that 1-to-1 area, that's when we want to be getting some shares out, down around that 57 to 57 1/4, guys. So Oxy now in. We're still in Tel to the long side. Keep that in mind. But like you said, Mullen goes right into that 350. That was where I thought there could be some resistance. Got to 45, actually. Didn't quite get to that 50 number, but close enough.
I just canceled my UiPath. I didn't mean to do that. But I'm not in it. I was just looking. It's down to 23 right now, UiPath. So it's going to take down 23 and just continue to go lower. So there it goes, man. UiPath breaking lower. We'll do our down. We don't have this name, but I mean, again, another name that's on the radar. And we talked about what's it going to do near 22. So you're about to find out real quick on this one as it's going to come through to $22. Wow. Pretty fast right now. AMD's down to that 114 area, which I said was a possible little buy spot here for AMD, down that 4+%. So we'll have a quick look at this one as it's coming right into 114 there. I mean, where are you going to hold this to? 113, 112. There's a big move down here on it in NVIDIA. I am also looking at on AMD. I am looking at NVIDIA for a long at this 273.50 or so, and here it comes screaming down, man. This market, Puke City. What's up, Brendan?
Another recent high flyer doing some volume this morning. CELZ. Do you remember CELZ? Popped up last week. Went all the way up here to all-time highs and is back in action, it would appear anyways. Watch 450 to 475 on CELZ.
Just looking at that harsh rejection of 350 on Mullen, that's why you always zoom out, man. Like, you see that level on the 15, and that's why I think you had that harsh rejection. People taking their profit and running, but we still have our support down at 3 even, and I think it's going to be worthwhile to use it. Micron, we just got that attempted curl at 79. So there it is. We take our last entry point. We either start falling here, and I'm not saying I'm holding everything down to 75. Actually, because 75 is a long. That's why the bid's in there. But I want to get this curl. If it takes out 79 even, there are other levels we can go off of in the higher time frame, but that's more like 81. And I don't want to be holding this all the way to 81. It's a get out and regroup. If it gets to that 80 to 81 price area, that's a separate short trade for me. Don't want to be sitting there holding one trade against me. That's your entire day on the Micron. Longeveron just came back. So we did get some out in front of 10, but now it's starting to scream down into that support, that 850 to 875 area. I want to be buying the dip down here. We took some at 9 last time, so I'll probably go ahead and do that again, but still have the bid down around that 860 level as well.
Trying to find something to get long here because the market looks like it wants to take back some of these levels. And I was looking at Microsoft here at 3. I mean, first of all, I'm waiting to get longer. I mean, long period into Nvidia there. Let's have a quick look at Softy as that's only down 0.58. So I guess the market's down 0.33, so this is a little bit more. But a nice move down. I was looking at this 312.50 area right here for Microsoft. It was kind of some bottoms yesterday. If you take it, you got to hold it $1 against you. But with this market coming back in, unless something comes to like a real key level here, and on Microsoft, I mean, we are approaching this 312, 311. I mean, this has been a bottom here, so maybe 311.50 or so for Microsoft. So definitely something to happen right there. But I mean, what's this? I mean,
Straight AMC.
No, but it's 25, right? Where it didn't
No,
go.
because GameStop hit 170. That's why. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know how far AMC went down. 24.50. AMC just has a $1 range right now, so it's not super spicy.
The only reason I asked the question was because I had the bid on GameStop in front of the 160s and just saw it get to 170. So it did break out. I'm going to cancel the bid because after you've made that move, if it slams back down and retests the low, you've got to consider the way that you get the fill. I wouldn't want it under those circumstances. Tellurian, what a gift. So that was right back at the 550 level, slams back down to get us our dip buy, which I didn't even think was going to happen, right at the same breakout price at that 535. So we're able to pick it up while we're getting stopped out of Micron. So that one stunk. The first leg in Micron wasn't very good. But Tell, right back to the well. These nat gas plays for a second day in a row. Getting some out in front of the high of the day. But at this point, what I did yesterday as a mistake was not hold it through the high break. And this time I'll try to do so. Maybe we get like a $5.75 or a $6 level. Longeveron also bought the dip, but that hasn't really done much of anything. It's not really screaming back toward that 10 level. I am still in front of 860 to see if we can get more with a stop just below that 845 level. And yeah, Mike Jones, Block is on that radar, and we should have gotten to this. We talked about that level yesterday. When the market was sort of screaming to the downside, that 138, and I did not set my alert. However, when you break a floor like that on a weekday in the market, you're thinking breakdown short. So the look for me would have been to the short side there. I'm not shorted, but maybe it wants to give me a second chance. This is your 138, and you can sort of see there on the 15-minute chart for Block. Not a great price to have broken.
We're not waiting for too much longer here on Microsoft as it's coming back in right now, so we're going to get out of this in a minute. We got some 50s, and now it's coming back in a little bit. We were able to scalp some out in the mid-60s there, but here we go back up to the upside. Maybe it holds, maybe it doesn't, but this is at a decent level right here right now, and I just don't want to hold it too much below this. That's all. The market's tanking, or it's continuing to go down here, and we don't want to be holding these big tech names into this. They've been some of the best performers. Wow, there it goes. They've been some of the best performers so far, and you definitely don't want to hold on to these in case there's some profit taking if the market does come back in a little bit. Oh man, I can't believe we just went up to 60 there and I didn't get anything out. There goes Microsoft back in. We're about to get stopped out on this play. It just keeps on bouncing around here, so we'll have to wait to see when it takes this out. But Microsoft right now back up to the upside and still moving around. Very, very tricky stock, this name.
Yeah, and I'm right back into the well. When a setup happens, you have to grit your teeth and sort of take it. We took the hit on Micron, wanted to see if it got to 80 to 81, where we liked the short. But then you put the wick top through that high at 79, where you're making the top wick and it's immediately rejecting it and then showing you consolidation at the previous level. Just jump right back into the trade. That's pretty much going to happen every single time. You stop at the high, and if you go over 2, then you regroup. But that's a setup I'm going to have pretty much every single time I see it. This is in the context of Micron trying to break back up here. when you're seeing NVIDIA fall down to the lows, the market coming to the low. So if it trapped some longs, all the better. But have to note, if it takes it out again this high of the day, the relative strength is going to be obvious. They did have a good report yesterday, but it has been a relatively weak stock the last couple of weeks. When you get my stop order in, not going to let it get through that 80, of course. Sorry, not going to let it get through that high of the day, of course, which is now 79.18. That's a nasty dark pool that is meaningless, but 79.20 is where my stop's going to be on Micron. If this can't work when the market's crashing, then no short's going to work in Micron then.
Yep, I would agree with that one. Yeah, we're getting ready to rock and roll here again. What a good trade this has turned out to be on Mr. Softy. Wow. All the way upside now. Just wish we had held more, but that's always going to be the case for your boy. As there it goes. Wow. Big time movement here for Softy. We're pretty huge on this trade, man. 80 cents now in the money, and we did put on some big boy pants down there because it was at the levels we liked, right? It didn't pop through. So thankfully for that one, we don't have to worry too much about that as now it's coming back in. So a nice trade here for us on Softy, as that's, wow, explosion right now. Oh man, Sean, you should have held that, but whatever. So be it. All the way to the upside. A nice move now for Microsoft. Let's just, I mean, this is what I'm doing, right? As this keeps popping up, I keep taking pieces out there. We missed that ultimate out, though. How far did that go? Up to the 60s right there? Yeah, we don't have any prints there in the 60s. Our best prints are here in the 30s, so we'll take another one. And if it does continue to move upside, then yeah, we'll celebrate this pretty nicely here. Done for Softy. $1 in the money now. Microsoft off that 211.50 level that we liked. We didn't get NVIDIA, but hey, man, we got Mr. Softy. What's up, Brendo?
A couple of little energy names moving. Cosmos Energy is the first one here. KOS in New York just made a day high on a monster volume spike. Yeah, crude trending back to that 103.80 area, 103.85. But big volume here on KOS, guys.
So I just got into that square finally, and obviously, you know, you don't get it the first time through when you're looking at that level, but sometimes it gives you a pullback, and that's what just happened. That little spike, and you know, Sean getting Microsoft, that can mean if you're looking to short a pop in something that's relatively weak, that could be your chance. So I just got 77s, 37s, 77s. If it does a roll off of 140, yeah, I'll probably take some more. And this is a trade where you're giving multiple dollars on it because if we break and hold below 138, 137 here, there's room down to 130, 131 if we got ourselves a red day, right? So it's a little bit different from like, you know, scalping 50 cents or $1, which you can do, don't get me wrong. Micron will ring the register for the first time here on Micron. The first trade did not work out, but it put that wick off top there, jumped right back into it, 78.80 there. We'll take some out in front of VWAP, which, you know, it's pretty much a standard off a roll off a high like this, and then see if I can get some out in front of 38. And then even if I get more out at 77.50, I want to be holding for the bigger move. So we're into Micron for the short side of the trade. The only long I have that isn't Longeveron's Tellurian. So nothing that follows the broad market like the NASDAQ, anything that's tracking the indexes, I'm holding short. The longs are in Nat Gas, and then a runner like Longeveron here.
All right, so we're going to probably start to get out of this Softy right now, but we are into a new trade right now, so new trade alert here, and it's AMC down to that 24 area that we talked about. This was going to be our first level. We do understand that there's going to be $23 that we have to look at as well. Sorry, it was $22 was the level of concern there, but there we just tried to bump up on AMC, and we did a fail there. It tried to get back up through $24, went to $24.10 or so, and then stopped, so here it comes back upside. Let's see what it does now. Back through $24.10, and so I don't know, man. I have to get a little lighter on this name as it's coming back in now. So darn it, we missed an opportunity there to get lighter. I don't know why it doesn't want to go, but hey, this is our friend AMC. So I'm going to let this go a little bit longer. If this breaks back down through this 23.80 mark, we're going to get out of this name. So here it comes, AMC. We're not going to hold this till the cows come home, but we are going to try to hold it a little bit. But here it goes, trying to go. Let's go, man. Get back to the upside. AMC just struggling here at $24, guys. So yeah, this stock might come out of our account very soon.
Yeah, and speaking of AMC, remember I canceled that dip buy in GameStop because it did that whole like pop to the upside and then flush? Well, still had the 59 break because remember what that looked like on the shelf. So we just got through 59. And saying you said that, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, GameStop could be down there.
Yep.
And it looks like it is. So I got a lot of slippage on that trade because it crossed down 50 cents and I got filled 50 cents lower. you got to consider if you hold this, it could go down to 150. Like, that's the support level. So you're really talking about $8 worth of upside in the trade. The top of the channel is closer to 60 to 61. So that's what we have to watch on the back end. I did get filled on the bid there for Micron again. So I did get some more of that trade out. But now into GameStop, and that's a crazy one if it runs. I think there's $7 to $8 worth of upside, but I don't want to lose more than about 3.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, my Microsoft trade didn't break through, which is fine. It's back to the upside right now, softy. So it resisted again, man. And so when it came back up, we got back in. We didn't get back in, sorry. That was what I was talking about. I don't know why we didn't get back in there. But a nice back out there at 312 again as we hold Microsoft against this 311. It's come down here a couple times. The futures have definitely helped that trade, man. Like, we could have got smacked out of that a couple times down there at 311.50, like we talked about it. That's the level that we like. Let's try it one more time if it comes back into that level, because we did not reload last time. So 311, I want to put an order for like 311.40 and see if we can get that to the upside right now if it comes back in. And then we'll dump it if it breaks back down near 311. But Microsoft has been pretty strong back down here. Unfortunately, our AMC, man, it went down and we got out. It took down that $24 like we talked about it. It's trying to make lower lows, obviously, and we got out there on a 23.90 break. What can we do? That's an out. It's a loss right there for me on AMC.
Yeah, and I didn't even get anything out on the score. I thought I was about to get filled here at 136 and about a quarter or so, and then it popped back up. So I might have to get more aggressive. We come back down to that price. That was the first profit target, and I never got it. So you never want to see that happen to you, especially when you make a wick bottom like this, because if the futures run, and this is going to follow the market square, if the futures run, when you have a bounce like that in a wick bottom, it can be like a harsh reversal, like point and take. That's why we just had to get out of GameStop. 15-minute, forget about it. Go to the 3-minute to show you. It makes that break to the downside. And I love it on the 15-minute chart. But if you just simply hold on to that short, you could be staring 65 or 68, 69 in the face, and suddenly that risk to reward, risk $2 or $3 to try and make 7 or 8, ooh, that turns the other way if you try to hold it the entire way. 165 was a key level before. If it gets back up to that price, I still favor the short. That's the direction I'd rather be playing in that name. And it's weird, but Longeveron, while not breaking down, look what it's doing here. I got the reload, and it's only going sideways. The one thing that I would have expected to move more is doing absolutely nothing here at $9. A bit concerning, because you'd think if it holds its support, it should be trying to get back to that $10 level, and it's pretty much doing the opposite.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on with Longeveron. Mullen, kind of the same thing too. It's kind of barcoding right now. I mean, not doing the same thing as if not flying around, but not doing a whole hell of a lot for us on that play. I just want to look at AMC one more time because I don't want to be done this name, and I think for good reason as well. You know, you have this 24.20 area. I mean, we got out. It's fine. It's a losing trade. We lost on NEO as well, but that's going to be a bigger loser for me here on AMC because we trusted a little bit more than NEO. But right there. Actually, yeah, AMC's a bigger loser, yeah. Maybe that bottom is in now, 23.90, 23.80. So on that note, I do want to take a 24.20 bid here. So if we take this out, I'm going to try to give it back down to these lows again. The first area to get out, though, would probably be a little bit out on 24 if we fail right there. But I do like this 24.20 break to see if we can clear this junk and then head back to VWAP like a 24.60. Here it is, 24.60, 24.40 area. So we'll take a first part out. If we can get anything out at 30, we'll try that. And then we'll see about holding it up to 50. There it is, up to 50. Back, so there's some out at 40, at 30, sorry. Now we'll see if we can get something out at 40s as now AMC is starting to run. What's up, B?
Just saw Boeing, guys, popping up at day highs on a decent volume spike here, coming back to 198, which was that high, or the area of that high from yesterday, remember, on that China Southern headline. So Boeing starting to go.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. So we traded that one, well, we looked at that one and didn't trade it, thinking it would be a lot stronger in the afternoon, but with the rest of the market, it absolutely died. Square, Block, just got back to green on the session, and I just got in and out there. My stop should have been at 141. It was at 140, and if you accidentally trigger, you can always jump back to the same price, which is pretty much what I just did. So just jump right back in the spread. 141 is going to be the level. The market trying to bounce back here. I just got some out of Micron, and watch out, because Micron, while working to the downside, I just saw NVIDIA's chart, and that's bouncing back up. So that's going to make me second here. It's going to make me get out of some Micron if I can, just a little bit more, as that's near those lows. When I see NVIDIA scream like this, it just screamed back to 277. It never got to 72. Unfortunately, that was the price I liked, 72.73, where you can see on the 15-minute chart, that's where the real support was. Unfortunately, it never got there to be able to get that bounce. But wow, big run in NVIDIA. That's enough for me to definitely take some more out of Micron. I'm going to hold on to Micron short, but to not take some profit out down there close to this 77.5 when you see that bounce in the market would be a little bit reckless.
Yeah, Square, Oxy, GME, good. A lot of good active names there today for sure on Neil's side of things. And then we're right now looking at AMC. So again, we'll take another piece out here at 30, but we hit that, man. That went all the way to 60 there. It touched view up and came right back down. And you might have heard me go, whoa, because it ripped up and we just started getting out on the way back down. We actually were holding some of this on the way up to see about those levels, and then we didn't have any up there as it ripped up. So here it comes back down. Going to test 24, man. But wow, we cleaned out, man. We got like a lot of our money back on that play right there. We took the same amount of shares. So again, in at 24.13 the first time, out at 90. So that's like a 23-cent hit. In at 20 and then out here 47.48. So it's about flat. It's about the same, pending on what happens now with this name. So that's AMC, and that's what we're trading right now. That's that good. You just mentioned NVIDIA. Oh no, sorry. You mentioned you want it back.
NVIDIA and Micron was what I was mentioning. Though, quickly before we go to Brendan,
I miss NVIDIA by 10 cents.
UiPath is now basing out at 22. I canceled my offer because, again, if it comes up 10% into a 24 level, that is not the trade I was looking to take. I wanted that off the open. You don't necessarily want it screaming up against you on a name that's already down 24%. So it's barcoding at 22. Jump back into Square. Remember, we started this when it broke that higher level, so I do want to try to hold this if the market continues to flush. Was that Brendan?
Datadog back above 150, guys, on a volume spike. We actually went right through to 152. Remember, Microsoft Azure deal announced aftermarket yesterday for DDog.
Yeah, and again, that's another name that just, you can only trade so many things, right? I know we'll go over some of those as they come. And when I talked about like Occidental, we're going to take that one short at 57.5 and give it up to that 58 area. And then once it broke, I'm just out. And that's the thing. Like I can like the short all I want on the stock, right? And think, oh yeah, this is a day that I think we could reverse, strategic, blah, blah, blah. And the last time they released, I was basically telling you how that wasn't going to do squat. This was a little bit bigger, so I thought this could be a level that we could work off of, but I can't get too stubborn about it. Once we break out of that range, there's nothing to be had until maybe it gets to $60. And if we see 60, fine. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Jumping back over to, and again, the trend has been pretty clear. And the reason I say 60 is just have a quick look at the higher time frame, which I need to always be showing you guys. When the trades or the levels are off the higher time frame, I need to be showing it to you guys instead of sticking with that 1 or 3 minute chart that we always show. In terms of Square or block, whatever you want to call it, it did jump into that 140, rejected it. I do have my stop above. That's the limit price, not the stop price. The stop is at 41 right here. So we did roll back into some at 140. I'm going to take some out in front of yesterday's low, which makes sense. If we break down, I still believe we can get into this 35 to 33 channel if the futures continue to head to the south side. Now, what I'm going to be watching here, if this starts to work, and Micron as well for both these shorts, I think it'll be the story. The ES here is trying to get down to a 45, 75. You've got the lower high at 80. If you're watching the NASDAQ, however, levels on a chart, you don't have to worry about it. It's 15,000 on the NASDAQ futures. We bounce off of that. You want to be trimming some of your shorts just because that's where we bounced yesterday. When the market was flooding, we bounced yesterday pretty aggressively there. Longeveron starting to get going. I mean, it's not going crazy yet, but it's finally bouncing off that $9 level. It's been taking a while to do this, but it's making a small attempt here. I want to get some out in front of 950 and then see if it tests at 10. At this point, I don't think I'm holding for more than $10 the way that this is traded. I think that's a pretty good profit target. Of course, as I say it, it just flushes or starts to flush back into 9 even. So it can't seem to get going, this Longeveron.
Okay, we're just going to stick here. Yeah, Longeveron. We're in and out of that. Where is it? Is it back to 10? Yeah, so our best out there, 985, and we haven't got back in. But like Neil just talked about it, so I'm going to pass it. But Good stock there. We're going to go long here. There it is. I was going to say we're going to go long AMC if we do take that out. And I think about now just going into scalp mode here on this name and just try to make back what we've lost on it, because it just did dump back in. We had a monster winner, right? And then the dump happened. And then this is the problem with AMC as I'm just trying to scalp out. I'm already out of half of this trade already as we go into the upside here on AMC, because it seems like it just wants to scalp out. That's all, right? Like, we'll see what it does. We just got some out at 99 there. We'll see if we can get out more on the way up. But see, this is what I mean. You take the bid and then it just comes back in again. So you're going to try to get this out as it starts to work for you. And then I'm going to try to respect this 2350 level again and see if we can average in one more time to the downside. But AMC today has been down. It's been good for the scalps, but then boom, it just crushes you right away again. So until these apes come back, man, we're going to still try to trade this name, and we're going to try to trade it a little more aggressively on the scalp side instead of waiting for those monster home runs. But we always got to keep a piece on board for AMC just in case it does take off. But right now, the directional bias is to the downside right now on AMC. So there it comes. As soon as I say that, it rips up. But we're going to just continue to scalp it out. And there's another out right there at 98. So let's see where we go here on AMC to the upside, waiting a little bit higher than 24 flat to get out of some of these. We're long at 92 here. So if we can break through 24, then maybe we have another push to 24.20. Or now over there at the big screen, what's happening now, it's Brendan Wickens.
Hey guys, yeah, back in the red here for North American markets. I'll show you where we're at right now. 0.14 there for the S&P, the Dow about 0.3. There is a little bit of strength there in the Russell 2000. Speaking of AMC, the NASDAQ, both in negative territory for the 100 and the composite. Toronto's higher along with oil starting to rally as well. A few things we were talking about in the pre-market. Speaking of oil, XOM trying to go red to green. It did, in fact, go red to green, back to red again. For XOM. Tesla as well. There was a couple of minor headlines. That low comes into play on Tesla. Trying to bounce off 1080, but a bit of a choppy day so far. A lot of things just back and forth. AMD, yeah, it was probably the cleanest move. We were mentioning the way it sold off yesterday. Get the downgrade, and then wow. 116 down to 112, guys, for AMD. Back over to you.
Wow. Yeah. Look, the price action has been off the open. It's been crazy every day. I don't know why I'm saying the price action's crazy today. It's if that hasn't been every single day. But 10 o'clock is hit. Just a reminder. I know you guys are saying watch out long Deveron. It was CEO, right? I guess.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Neil whispered to me about that. I think it's
the CEO.
Yeah, it's on Benzinga. I was pretty sure.
So we'll see.
Yeah, Brendan can confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that's what the talk was earlier. Okay, so AMC, just as an update there, it did exactly what we thought it would do, man. It rented this 24. We got some out. We got some good outs too, like 24.10, 24.08, things like that on the upside. And then here's the average back in. Our average price is 73 now. So I'm going to take some out. See, it's popping and dropping. Like literally, I can't use a better term for NVIDIA, for AMC right now, because that's exactly what it's doing, man. It's up and down. And so we got to take advantage of this. The strong moves are to the downside. So, I mean, to hold this and not get out on any pop seems to be pretty ridiculous. You are seeing a big order here at 55. It's having a hard time getting through it, but it's going to get through it right now. And there it goes, breaking now through 50. So, yeah, we're going to be out. I'm going to just try to get some out here. Yeah, go ahead.
No, we just broke. I don't want to hit a key to celebrate. We just broke 15,000 on the NASDAQ. I did just get some out in front of 137 on Square, so we still have the short in front of that 40 level. Things are starting to really accelerate to that downside. And Longeveron, look, 9 o'clock hit, and it was at 950. I had just got a fill at about 42 or so. I love that number. It's my lucky number. And then drops back into 9. So it still has all kinds of support at 9. And I still think there's support in front of that 850 where I've been on the bid since the morning. It never gets down there, but I still feel like that can be a level. Tellurian, I know I'm ignoring it. But I feel like the game plan was relatively simple on that. It made the top end break. It goes into yesterday's high. I want to buy the dip in front of that same top break and then see if we can't just rinse and repeat. So I'm just letting it come back in, and then hopefully we can get the same prices in those 30s that we were able to do a little bit earlier on in the day. Nothing too crazy there. Micron has bounced. I mean, so Micron, for all the weakness that this has had off those earnings, it just can't seem to break the low when the NASDAQ takes out 15,000. Holding on to the last of our short, I intend on going long in front of 75, so I really am only thinking about somewhere around that 76 level to be taking out the short on Micron. This one has worked a little bit more cleanly than Square, but we'll see. And the market is heading southbound here, as you guys can obviously tell. I have not traded any of the EV names because we absolutely missed out on that short in Rivian. Just watch out for Tesla here at 1080. It's holding on to this pretty well as the market's bouncing through some pretty key levels, but Tesla 1080, the rug could get pulled there. I prefer Rivian for shorts in the EV space just after what we saw yesterday. At this point, maybe that's shipped sail because you've gone back and forth through 50 even, and that's a big level here, 47.75 into 50 even on the 15-minute. It's a hard level to be short. If we bounce off it, I think you're now looking at 52 as your place to get back into a short if you got it the first time or to get in for the first time.
Yeah, definitely like the Rivian shorts, man. I mean, I was all over that short like crazy yesterday until we wound up holding a big winner, but we did lose on that stock yesterday as it went to 57. I mean, what a difference a day makes there. Okay, so we are dug in now to Softy. It'll be a loser, but it won't be a big one if it takes down 310. Our average price is right here, so that's pretty good. 311.30 is our average price, and we just took some out at 27 right there, right on that move just now. So, I'm taking the hits here on Microsoft in an attempt to hold for a little bit longer here on the upside if it goes now. So just trying to not build into this position. Neil made a great point there that we took down 15 on the NASDAQ. So obviously that's going to be an area of concern for a lot of, indexers and things like that when you get to 15,000. So let's watch Microsoft. We've just taken another piece out. So right now we are getting lighter on this name. Hopefully now we can start to go back up to the upside here on Microsoft and we'll have a little piece on. But we did just take some hits there on Softy, but still my number one stock today, Microsoft. AMC took down that last level. That's my biggest loser today by far. Just trying to go long. There goes Softy. Let's go, baby. What's up, Bren?
Target for short sellers last summer, I want to say, NNOX up on smaller than expected loss and higher than expected revenue, guys. So monster volume at 1150 there for NNOX, up 25%.
Yeah, monster volume for NOX. I think that's what we called it last time. But also that FRGE from yesterday, Fergie, because it's easier to say Fergie. So that's what, if I say Fergie, I mean FRGE. I understand that's not the name of the company. It was very expensive for locates. Oh wow, are you kidding me? I'll lock that in. Yeah, it was $1.12 for locates earlier on in the session. And then by the time it got to that 44 high, it was cut in half. It's only 22 cents a share. That's way less than it was yesterday. The issue with that, and don't get me wrong, as I try to get these locates as it approaches that 44, it could halt into this level. That's a more crowded trade now. It's cheap for day traders to short this, which means there's probably more of them looking at that level and wanting it. Come on, give me the look. I just got them now, so 45 is still the high. It just turned around off that level. Am I going to try it? Of course I am. But if it breaks the high, I don't mind making top wick. If you ever make this trade, it looked great yesterday when we had the short. But the consequence of a level like that is if you hold through it, maybe it's at 50 and you lose $5. Maybe it goes to 60. I don't know. You're basically playing off a level on a chart that you think longs will take profit and big traders will want to short off of. That's all you're really doing here. So hopefully it's $1.50 and a small amount of risk plus what we paid for the shorts to try to get it back to these levels here from yesterday, 41, 40s, and then maybe down to 38. But if it takes out the top, I'm just done with it, at least until it gets to 50 even. Miss V, I believe.
Hey guys, great news. We need just 11,000 more subscribers to become 300,000 subs YouTube community. So guys, please double check if you're a subscriber of Trader TV Live. If not, smash that subscribe button. And of course, go long on the like button. We need just 500 more likes to get 2,000. And hopefully we will break that 2,000 target. Back to you guys.
Okay, just to bring everyone's attention, I was just going to say there was a big size there on Mullen at 15, so I got out, some at 14, and now we'll just hold, man. I mean, I'm going to hold. I'll get some of my higher offers now. I did think that maybe this was going to come down. It was below VWAP. There was about, I think it was about 200,000 shares or so at one point, but again, it's already done 100 million, so that's not per se scaring me out of the trade. It's not doing that at all. It's just, it was there, and I thought, okay, if it pushes it down, we might as well take a piece out, because we're in the money on this Mullen trade. So a good trade there. We'll hold for a little bit higher. And then, wow, what a good trade there. We'll hit the siren for Microsoft. Like, that really resisted that. I don't know why. I mean, I said why I was getting nervous, because the take of the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ's right at 15,000 right now, that, you know, if that broke, there was obvious reasons for it to keep going downside, and we don't want to be holding big tech if that was the case. So there we go, Microsoft taking off to the upside as we kind of resist. And this is what I mean. We're just getting back to 15,000, but it's that bottom there that's bouncing now that's giving us this monster winner here for Softy. So I couldn't be happier with the way this trade is panning out for me. We're going to watch to see where Microsoft goes here now, trying to make these new moves here through 311, 312. We are identifying this 312.20 area as a spot. So I think that's right now. I mean, we should probably get another piece out here. $1 in the money now for Softy. So let's get a piece out, and let's go back over to Brendan. What's up, bud?
Yeah, a few people mentioning this one. FRGE just took out that high from yesterday, guys. Almost got to $50 for this. A heads up on FRGE. Almost halted there again.
It was actually a fake halt. And when we say fake halt, very quickly, a couple of people put it in the chat. I got stopped out. I got 45.20 out. It then makes the top at 40. I got to get it in a bit. Makes the top at 47.50 there. Can't get to the 50 even. Does one of those failed breaks. So when it's a failed breakout, I'm going to get back in short when it retakes the previous level. That's 45 even. I just got 44.87 to the short side. I should already be out some there. Why not? I'm just going to get on the bid. Probably between, I feel like between 42.50 and 43 even is probably the best place to get on there. So I'll jump in front of that 43, on the backside of that 43 if it breaks again, and then try and get this 40 to 41 level. At this point, because it made that break, I'm not really thinking it's going to give you, or give me, not you, me, the same kind of trade that we had yesterday. It just feels like, look at the support. A capitulation, makes the higher low, breaks out, does not hold that level before. So the retrace to me is to that 40, to the first level, not to the second level. Not going to get greedy with this. It's already been an 0 for 1. But because we're trading it earlier today, we'll get multiple shots at it. It's not like at the end of the day where there was one trade to be had when you paid for the shorts late. There could be multiple trades on this. So I want to tread relatively lightly because the day is still young.
Okay, and yeah, agreed 100%. Look at AMD coming up here right now. That great bottom, like I thought I had bids down there, but I guess I canceled them all when I got up there. So AMD coming back in. This is still a minute chart. You can see it's been a big move up off those bottoms, 112.50. Remember, man, we could play off those bottoms. Reason why, if you look here, actually it's not going to be on a minute. It's going to be on the 20 period right here. Like we're right into some of these levels that we liked on AMD. So right here, 112, it just bounced off that 112 bottom. So I think now on AMD, it's probably worth like averaging in a little bit. Our Microsoft trade, we did take another piece out for 60 cents there. It did come back in a little bit, right? And so Microsoft right here on the 1 minute did come back in. So we got another piece out. We are going to wait up here. I do believe I have an offer. Yeah, I still do. North of 312. So if we get filled on that, then that should be a good one there. Microsoft's been the one that we've really been looking at. But I am going to put a bid now, thanks to whoever that was on the chat there. Someone said, yeah, there it is. Oh, Dinesh. What's up, Dinesh? Yeah, I like these longs down here, Dinesh. So if we can get those around, but it has to be a little bit lower than this, like this 112.50, something like that in here. Maybe 112.70 anyways, doesn't matter. Into there, I like it. And then I like a break through 114 here. So if we can get 114 break on AMD, we'll take it. Remember though, it has been downgraded, so that's on our radar there. A little bit of a bump back in for AMD, and we'll take this 112.70 or so on AMD, using 112 as our bottom.
So a couple of questions here. So obviously, I could have, like yesterday was pretty clean on FRGE. This was a different story. Like the first one, stop out, you got to follow your rules. It breaks 45, I'm going to get stopped out. But you just heard me give it a pretty quick but rather long explanation as to why I'll take it all out in front of 41. Well, it's now halted down at 39.85. So clearly that wasn't the right thing. However, it's you theory saying no problem, Neil Roberts, aka Isaiah Thomas. What's with the Isaiah Thomas thing? I don't look like Isaiah Thomas. I love it.
Nice one, Isaiah.
So I won't tell the full story now, but I almost, when I was in high school, and it was very close to doing this, almost camped out outside of the GM for the Raptors at the time, Isaiah Thomas's condo that he was living in, to try to get an interview. And we got talked out of it by a teacher because they said you can get into trouble if you do things like that. So Isaiah Thomas, huge fan of his, but I'm not sure what that reference is about. It was Vikram and I.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what trouble you could get in.
Well, because we were going to stalk him. Like,
Oh, stalking?
basically, until we're high school kids. We're 15 years old. If we just hang out there, eventually he'll just cave and give us the interview. We settled for David Peterson, who was part of the ownership group, and actually got him for the interview.
Yeah. Isaiah Thomas,
Could've worked.
That guy's a pretty sketchy individual. And I hope that that's not what they're referring to you about. Huh?
I don't know. What's wrong with Isaiah Thomas?
Isaiah? You got to Google him, man. He didn't have a good run there with the Knicks, and anyways, it's not. I don't think it's for the show. Okay, let's go here. So AMD, we're not in it right now.
I like.
No, I mean I like him as a player. I'm just saying, like as a person. Okay, Apple right here coming in. Uber. I'm trying to find some names that we might want to trade here. Apple. So let's look at Apple quickly. AAPL right now. 176 change for Apple. It's down 1%. The market's down 0.4. So again, Apple needs to do some work here if it wants to get going again. And I don't mind it, man. I mean, it's going to take out the 50 period. Let's go long Apple. I mean, we already have a nice bottom of 175. You're going to have to give this some room. But the 50 period on the NASDAQ is now getting taken out. So maybe we do have a change here of feelings for the NASDAQ. Maybe back up through the upside, holding that 15K. I mean, if you're going to go long NASDAQ or anything like that, you have a 15K out there. But again, Apple weaker than the market. So that could be definitely something to look at. I'm already long the market here, man. Like I'm long, not Mullen, I'm long Microsoft. Bang, there it is. We take the dollar. So hit the sirens right there for Softy as that's ripping up to $1 right now. As that's starting to go, I'm going to give a big shout out to Trader Pratt and Raider Trader right now, killing it. So we're going to see him in a bit as well. But here we go, Microsoft to the upside. We just got out there at that 50 period. That's a big win for your boy. The only thing we really stepped up on was AMC today, and now it's battling right back. It's just, the problem is, like, I was waiting for 22, not 23. I wish that we had pegged out that 23 bottom instead of 22 because we'd be long. I already have my order set down there for 22, but that didn't get there, so whatever. 23 and change, nice little move to the upside. I know you looked at GameStop, and I think you were like me, traded it early and really haven't looked in the last couple minutes, but AMC is definitely strong now to the upside. I expect to see the same thing over there with GM.
Yeah, it was one in and out in the short, but it was screaming to the upside. Just had to take it out there. It broke that 59 that we liked and then couldn't follow through. FRGE, before I go on, I'm going to talk about Longeveron, but FRGE indicated open at 38. That'll be in 1 minute as long as it's a 5-minute halt. If not, that means it's 10 minutes, but it is indicating opening at 38. That should have been a hold, but that wasn't the read I had, and the read was obviously wrong. I could have got an extra $3 at minimum out of it, but Longeveron got to 980, and I said, I got to watch out for that $10 level, and it couldn't break through. At this point, I didn't get the dip the last time. So I'm trying to hold for the breakout at 10 even, but I need to get more aggressive. I keep thinking that we're going to get filled at below $9, and it just hasn't really happened. So the next time is going to have to be in front of 9, which we were taking before. So I'm going to make that adjustment here, get out in front of the $9 level. Still like it to that 850, but 10, wowzers. If I don't get any more on the bid, then I don't want to be getting it all out in front of 10 even. So we'll see what happens with Longeveron. Pretty strong so far as the market trying to get back upside here, Brendo.
The metals company is starting to go again. Big mover yesterday. This is an alternative miner, so in that battery space. Just trying to test that pre-market high here for TMC.
All right, I'm going to cancel that Apple. I was actually now looking at this Apple and thinking that maybe it's just a short off these levels instead of a long. I mean, if the market's going to dance like this, then fine, we'll take the long. But you see what it's doing now? It's now breaking back down below. So I feel like, you know, I'd rather it have just ran through and then we traded Microsoft's been my best stock by far today, but now we trade Apple through this break. But right now it's like Microsoft and Apple and the big caps really aren't doing a whole hell of a lot. Apple's actually going to the downside, so we'll have to probably leave that. But again, like I don't mind this break of 176.40, but every time the market ticks down, Apple definitely is pretty fast to drop. So that's something definitely to indicate there. I might go short here on Apple, but I hate going short Apple so early in the day. There's so much more room to go here upside for Apple. It's already dropped from 178. We're down to 176. If this market goes back upside, man, Apple can turn green. So I mean, this is not like something that I'm too worried about. It's like I want to get long. So if we're going to get long, we're going to get long on this break. So let's just keep this order in, man. 176.40. If we take out 176.40, we're going to get long Apple. Otherwise, we'll just sit here and wait for it. We are waiting, though, for AMD to come back in. And my bid on AMD is 112.60. So it's $1 lower still than where we are right now, because AMD is right at the same spots, man. AMD is, though, down 5%. So maybe there's a little bit of spice here coming through this 113.80 mark on AMD. So that could definitely be worth something as well to the long side. I'm actually thinking about taking this long break here on AMD through this. So 113.80, let's try this long through AMD, guys, as long as it takes that 113.80.
Yeah, speaking of like this bounce back in the market, Square's right back into this 140 area. So we took some out at that 137, some out in front of 138. If it's going to roll over off that same area, I have to adjust my stop up at the top, but I want to catch some more on a roll. The market's still, to me, trending to the downside, and I think unless we show some real signs of breaking out, I want to lean back into the trade that was working before. But I want to see it slow up and make it curl instead of just jumping in front of it. So monitoring that pretty closely. Fergie opened back up there. And there's an ugly wick, so I apologize in advance. There was an ugly wick that happened right before it opened up at like 46 and change. It was like one small, ridiculous dark pool, late reporting fill. But it did not break back above this 41 level. That's the clear thing. It opened, couldn't break 38, but it has not broken this 41. So I think 41 at this point is not just near that pre-market high or the afternoon lower high, but looks like it's the near resistance. If I can get a short tight to 41 with a stop at that price, I'd go for it. But there's so much room to run if it breaks 41 that I don't think you can hold this one past that level, which makes it, for a stock moving like this, I know it's weird to say a scalp trade, but that's pretty much what you'd be looking at.
So we got out something here on AMD near this right now, like 96, 95s and so on and so forth for AMD. So we do have this long, and it's pretty good so far here for us on AMD to the long side. And then we actually took more shares there on the break through 114 now. So we'll see if we can average out of some of these as we go. But now we like this stock. So we'll see if we can get some bids back down lower. Now, again, if this market crashes like it just seemed like it wanted to do there, then we're going to be in trouble. But for right now, we have the long on AMD, and let's just see if it wants to work now back up to the upside. Look, this NASDAQ is really the problem. If it continues to go down and test this 50 period, then we're going to get smoked. But AMD right there on a break through 114. Now we have a worse price because we took that break, but initially we did like this 113.80 level. So we're just back in. Let's give this one a little bit of room to breathe, obviously, here as we wait to see what the next leg here for the NASDAQ and this market is. Is it going to be higher? Nobody knows. Maybe Brendan knows. He's over there with Longeveron and the small cap recap.
Yeah, one of those days. I wish I knew. Today, back and forth we go on LGVN. I am going to try and be patient with this and give it to 9 because 9 seems to be a bit of an interest point here for buyers. They bought it up in front of 9. The past couple of times. That might, however, be a lower high. So we'll see the way this is coming back in. It doesn't look terribly healthy, but LGVN, yeah, chop fest, big time, right across the board today. Clovis Oncology tried to short. They were selling it hard into the open. That popped up, flipped that to the long side, gave you a long up to 290. We're getting back below this pre-market high currently, so might be worth a shot to the downside here for CLVS as well. ISPO, another one. Initial flush off the open got me short. Lighten up, put that back on, lighten up, put it back on, lighten up again. So it's just choppy back and forth for ISPO as well. So a lot of these low float runners not really running so far, guys. Back over to you.
That's pretty much right. Like, the Longeveron is just not nearly as active as I was. Look, there were good trades to be had. Like, we're not complaining about it. It's just really did think if it holds the bottom, it would break 10. And if it didn't break 10, then it wouldn't hold the bottom. And then that's exactly what you're seeing happen. You don't expect that kind of stability in those, especially in an open like this. I did get back into more shares of a block, like we mentioned there in front of 140. When I look at what's going on in the futures, and I'll put it side by side, so just to show, bear with me for a quick second. The NASDAQ here making that breakdown and then coming back to the upside. When you get something like this, you get almost like a wick bottom, reclaim a key level. Sure, the short is still valid off these levels because, it's worked. We still have the overhead resistance, and I'm in it, and it's in the money a bit here, but if we do not break back to the low, and if we can consolidate above that 138 on square, and it takes out the top, that's now a reversal trade into the long. That's just a jailbreak to the bottom, a failed break at the low, and then a breakout at the top. And if that carries to a market getting green, suddenly Square's got 141 to 145 in its sights, right? The upside becomes bigger than, sort of bigger than the other direction there for you. And don't get me wrong, like I'm in the short trade now and it's about $1 in the money, but I'm thinking ahead to if it doesn't work and the market reverses on me, what do I need to be doing next? And it needs to be, sometimes there is a level that you like. Of course, as I say that, like, give me a break, right? I'm sort of giving you the case as to why I would reverse into a long because things have changed. But, now it's starting to come back in. It's going to work again. But I still believe, especially if we make another higher low here, that this can turn into a reverse. I came in bearish on Square, but the way the market has treated it, if we get above 141, it's a reversal for me. I wasn't willing to do it before. Now I would, especially if we're holding that 15,000 level. If we can't hold 15,000 on the NASDAQ, everything I say is moot, but you always want to plan for the contingency. It's easier to manage a trade when it's working. When it stops working and things change on you, you want to have a plan of action ahead of time. So for me, it's thinking about that reversal on Square if we can hold 15,000.
Yeah, and I'm doing the same way here. I'm waiting to see here if we break through now, which we might just wind up doing here on AMD. So we've averaged into AMD now, and here comes the move, man, right back in. Like, the NASDAQ didn't hold, so we're going to give it one more shot here on AMD and see if it does want to give us that win. So here we go. Our average price is now 73 off of an average. So we'll get out a little bit if it comes back upside here, just to relieve again some of this in case the NASDAQ does fail at 15,000. It's starting to get a little bit of a bump up here, so we will take some pressure off of that trade, but we averaged into this and we're going to give it out to 113. So again, our average hits here is going to be 70 cents. So we'd like to get this back above 114 here in order for us to make a little bit of cash on this trade, which I think we can get. I think we can get some cash out of this one. So let's give it some chance to work back up to the upside now as it's starting to go. We're long at 72, remember, here on this name. So what else is working for us, though? Microsoft actually just rallied right back to these levels, and I missed it because I was focused on AMD and trying to average in on it and so on and so forth. But Microsoft really strong right there off of these bottoms. We may retest. We are very light on this name, which is why I missed this trade. But again, back up there would have been pretty sweet for that to get going. So we missed that Microsoft trade. That was $1.60 in the money for us. Sorry, $1.40 in the money for us at one point, and now coming right back in. But here we go. AMD screaming to the downside. It's about to take out 113. Look, we tried the long off this 15,000 on the NASDAQ. Definitely not working. Screaming to the downside now goes AMD. So this is going to come out of our account in about 20 more cents to the downside. We're not going to hold this until these bottoms again, because then AMD retests back down here, and this loser just becomes amplified at that point. So we're going to get out of AMD here if it does take out this 113, a little bit lower than 113, but that's going to be the areas of concern for me. AMD starting to go tank city here.
Yeah, and as I say that, look, I just got Longeveron in front of 9. We stepped up a bit, but as that's happening, the second you started saying AMD going down and we're back at that 15,000 level, I look over at Micron, and I would have preferred a reload closer to 78.80, but it gets to this 78.50 off of the bottom and starts a little bit to slow down when the market was heading back into the downside. I'll just reload it at that price. We did take most of it out in front of 77.5, and maybe we don't get 75 today. It doesn't feel like it's weak enough to do that. As a matter of fact, here it comes back towards that high. I made top wick once. If it breaks that, I'll make the top wick again if it reverses on me, but always going to have that out at the high of the day. As I mentioned, as that was going on, Longeveron did make that dip into 9 even, so I picked up some shares. I still had a few shares from that 617 price, and I want to get some out around 940. Basically, every time it's popped, I've taken some out in front of 950, a couple times at 942. I'll be in front of that this time. And then if it gets into the 60 to 75 range, I'll be more willing to actually get shares out here, which has been a mistake, not taking any profit from 60 to 80 and just ignoring that level and getting it out in front of 10 and holding for a 10 break, when really it's shown all kinds of weakness in front of that 980 anyway. So if we get another pop, we'll try to take some more shares out here of Longeveron. It's worked. It's just been a little bit of a disappointment. It has not broken out of the range all morning long.
Yeah, I know. That's the same thing with Mullen, too. I mean, Mullen's only 13 cents in the money right now and just doing nothing right now. You can see Mullen, Barcode Central. We did get out some at 14 there, but we're long is down here at 302, so no worries there. We did get some more out here. I mean, it popped to 60 AMD, so we got some out, and I told you we got a little bit out there on the way back up, and then again at 40. So, I mean, let's just see what happens. It looks like I don't like holding longs when we're below these levels on the NASDAQ, so for right now, we'll hold on to it, but we are definitely worried about this AMD. Microsoft 70 cents in the money, and I'm really happy with this name. Next time it comes up to this 312.50, though, we're going to dump it because I don't care about this anymore. It's all, I mean, I do. A win's a win, and we'll take it out at a technical level if it gets up here. But really, my concern is with AMD, as that's 30 cents against me with many more shares than we have here on Softy. What's up, Brendo?
A little one, Flex, just popping up here at day highs. FLEX on the NASDAQ off of, looks like a pretty good earnings report in the pre-market, was doing zero volume, but an electronic equipment maker, guys, FLEX.
Yes, and flexing its muscles to the upside. There's a lot of stocks that are moving.
Good one.
And Super SPAC Man just said this is not in your wheelhouse, but something cooking with THCA. I don't know. I haven't looked at it, so I'm not going to pretend to have any idea what any potential news might be here, but this is it breaking out on the daily. That looks good, right? This is actually not, like when you look at a daily chart and you see like a parabolic move or upside, a lot of times you're like, oh, that's a great consolidation. A few things step out. What has it done off $10? So I don't know anything about it. I'm guessing SPAC. When I see $10 support and spikes up, rejecting back into 10, that's my first guess. I don't know that to be sure, but there's no volume here. That's the other thing. It's done 177,000, and look how thin this is when I go to the 15-minute chart. You know, look how thin this is when I go to the 1 minute. If there's no volume on the stock, that means any day trading strategy is not scalable, right? Because there's a limit on liquidity. When you're trading Mullen, you don't have a liquidity limit. Any trade you want, there's going to be size at those levels, and you can sort of trade those types of things. You're going to run into all kinds of trouble here. So first assumption, I don't know for sure, but $10 probably a SPAC play. But a lot of times you're fading those spikes. You can see when it gets to that 11 to 11.50, they tend to get faded back into 10. So unless you had those breaks early, not much to see here. But again, that's just a quick, dirty read based on the chart. And then when you see that, it's like $10. It's always a SPAC when you see that, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, that's the good thing about SPACs, because you have that sort of guaranteed bottom there at least. And that's what I was talking about with CFVI as well. You know,
it's just
kind
a
of
better
like
trade, risk-reward trade.
You know, I think so. But at the same time, you know, if it was a SPAC that people are interested in, probably would be well above, like DWAC is. Okay, so Ford right now, I see that, Dinesh, I saw you post that in there about 17 possible swing play. I mean, I love 17 long. It's just it's not there right now. And I'm really just focused on the NASDAQ right now, so that's not a name that I'm going to be looking at here. I will look at UiPath. I wanted to give a quick look at because that was a name that we sort of left for dead here today. And look at that, man. We talked about buying these 22s, and that's literally the number that's bounced off of numerous times here, this 22 bottom. So the lowest we got was 2180 downside. So that's the bottom today, 2185. It's right on the sticky note, a talk all about this name and how we like the bottom at 22. We missed it. It's only 20 cents away, so we can get it again here and play it off of that bottom. So that's another name to look at here. Obviously now, as AMD is just not doing anything and Microsoft is going back up to the upside. So you see the NASDAQ right here starting to pop up, right? Look at AMD here. It's still down low. So I don't like, and again, if you're going to see this, like this is relative weakness now, and we know why. AMD got downgraded. I just thought it wanted to get off the schneid here, and that 5% on a simple downgrade was just too much. So obviously I'm going to be wrong on that, it looks like, and we should have been trading anything else. Remember when I said Apple was the long that we liked? It's right here, and it took this out, so we should really be long at 35 or so. It's trying to bounce as well, so I actually like this long a little bit better. Let's step in. I mean, first of all, I love Microsoft, as right now Microsoft's getting close to ticking us out. You know what? I'm going to cancel this Microsoft trade. Whoopsies, there's Microsoft, hit escape. We don't want to get out of this name anymore. We'll see. Didn't even cancel it. Like, what's going on? We'll see if this one wants to continue to go to the upside. But for right now, my focus is on AMD, and I actually like Apple. We're now long at 63 because we got some stuff out there. Remember, my average price was 72, so it's not like I got out of a lot. We kept the same average price, basically. But look, the NASDAQ now failing, and look how fast AMD screams right back down to the bottom. So I feel like we are going to get stopped out of this trade. downgrade here on a 113 break, not averaging into AMD, kind of admitting that this one's going to be wrong for the day. It got the downgrade, and until it gets going again, people have to think that this is too low, and I don't know if they're thinking that right now because the Nasdaq's trying to go, and I'm stuck not being able to get a long on any of these names. Let's try to test Apple long.
So just very quickly here, Nat Gas made this break of the high of the day there, and while that was happening, Tellurian, which I've been in pretty much since the open, just like the last couple of days, it's like I'm always in this thing pre-market, but it just dips right back to our entry price. That's what we said we wait for, right? As long as there was still some strength in the nat gas market, I wanted to be picking up Tellurian, but only off of this 530 area, and now we'll play it right back into the top of the range at 565, 570. I haven't been covering anything until it gets to 550, and then you start getting out all the way into that 560 area. So we're going to try and rinse and repeat that. Hopefully it's a little better than rinsing and repeating Micron here, which is screaming towards a high. Like Sean's talking about like being worried about AMD long, and Micron's doing that other thing. It's still down in the day.
Damn you.
But yeah, it's coming right up to the 79 area where we had to get out the first time. So if it breaks 79, I'm out of Micron again and can't make the short work with the follow through. But we are above 15,000. That's the other side of that coin. We're above that 15,000 mark on the NASDAQ. And if we hold that, you are set up for a bit of a jailbreak, right? As a matter of fact, makes me want to get out of that square and just take the $1.50.
We'd be huge in the money. And just to give you an example of why stock picking is so important on a daily basis, I started buying AMD at 1018, right? So that's right here, 77.30. We'd be long Micron right now, and it's up to $79, right? And instead, I'm ho-humming this stupid thing with AMD, and it's not doing anything right now. And we know AMD got downgraded, so I just picked the wrong stock. But again, I use that logic the other way. I thought it got downgraded too far, down 5%. With the NASDAQ flat. Give me a break. Good thing we got Apple. Let's go bang with Apple right now. That's a good idea, and that one's working out right here. So before we go over to Brennan, let's just spin this one more time because there's Apple, 30 cents now in the money. At least we picked the right one. $1.50 in the money on Microsoft, 40 cents in the money on Apple. We just need AMD to work. Let's give this one over to Brendo.
All right, market trying, guys, to head in the right direction. We're super happy once again to have Andrew Rader back on the show once again. He is Rader Trader on TikTok. He is an all-around great guy. He's a friend of the show, and we're happy to have him back on to talk the markets. Andrew, great to see you once again.
Absolutely.
Well, welcome back. How has your day been so far?
Awesome. Trading day, obviously getting into some action with the indices. I've been trading a lot of QQQ and tech recently with obviously it has been beaten down from this market correction. It still has a lot of upside and it's been very volatile and fun to play with, of course, the NASDAQ and the QQQs.
Yeah, a lot of attention, obviously, on some low float. I'm just keeping my eye on a few things here. ISPO, guys, trying to get back to 11 right now on a decent volume spike as well, so heads up. If you're watching that ISPO. So much to discuss here, these low float, crazy stocks going nuts, really. You were talking more about the market overall. Give us your take on where we're at, generally speaking here after this monster moved back to the upside off the lows that we saw going back a couple of weeks ago. I mean, a bit of congestion, probably healthy.
Yeah, so a huge move from the upside for, I think it was 16 being the bottom on the SPY, and just then been rocketing. This is obviously kind of because of the anticipation, right? The expectation of the markets pricing in a bigger conflict with Ukraine and Russia. And when we didn't get that, when we didn't get the inflation or the super aggressive rate hikes that we were expecting, the markets can sigh a relief and forget about it. Like they do as always. And of course, we do have some more downside we expect. Obviously, this is just a big move and coming back into maybe the 430s, 440s levels would be nice. But of course, a big topic for today and a lot of investors is the yield curve. A lot of people are mentioning, hey, the yield curve, the 10-year minus 2-year, maybe coming to cross soon. And of course, that's a leading indicator as well, guys. You need to understand that that's not an area to panic. Oftentimes, it's a 2 years lagging indicator. And of course, I personally like to use the 10-year minus the 3-month. It actually lags the 10-year minus the 2-year yields. And when we get a cross back above the zero conversion line, we normally get that recession 6 to 18 months after that, based off my research. And so that's a great idea to give you a time frame to say, hey, I'm going to invest until then. Until then, we can go, breaks off and really, reevaluate the markets.
Yeah, so much attention on that 2 and 10, which, as we were talking about a little bit last week, on its way to inversion. It's interesting you mentioned, the 3 months, not something a lot of people would even think about, paying attention to. But if you look at a chart, it's difficult to come up with a chart, but if you look at a chart of that, it's actually steepening right now, going in the exact opposite direction, which kind of points in, the complete opposite direction. So great point there. Give me a couple of names you've been watching today. I mean, you were mentioning the overall markets here, but individual stocks on your radar today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been looking a lot at Apple. Sean, I think you were on Apple as well. It's been kind of getting up to towards the top of this channel on the long term. If you guys pull up the daily, so it'll be really interesting. There he is. It'll be really interesting to see kind of how Apple plays out. Especially some of these, semiconductors and stuff like that, chip makers. Apple did release some news that they are looking for, a new supplier of these memory chips and stuff like that. So you should see some excitement in that field.
What up, Andrew? Yeah, good call out there on Apple. And I got fed up because I was trading AMD, and of course that got downgraded. You might have just heard me go on a little rant there about that name. And I find that that's the important thing, is stock picking, right? And I think that you can't just sit here and trade the same names day after day. I think it's important to learn about the names and understand, how they trade to take advantage of them. Otherwise, you're not going to put, big money into it. But at the same time, speak to the importance of maybe stock picking on specific days. And then what do you look for? We have our watchlist.tradertv.live. We also have the sticky note on my, which I'm sure you look at TraderTV Sean there on Twitter. So, what do you look at to say, hey, these are the couple names that I'm going to focus on today? Is there anything specific in your daily sort of warm-up?
Yeah. So a lot of what I do a lot of options. That's my main focus these days. Starting with equity as well. When I did equity, I'd find a lot of volume scanners, relative volume, the unusual volume, because obviously with more eyes on a stock, you could have a bigger move and a little bit more liquidity for those smaller names that typically don't get those sizes. But for options, me personally, I do a lot of research when it comes to, top flow. So a lot of what, if a name gets a lot of calls day after day put into it, then hey, maybe that sets up for a short trade, right? If you're over leveraged on one side, lots of calls piling in, you might be able to go short on that stock if you find a good supply zone area of rejection. As well as I do a lot of open interest trading. So trading ranges, especially with the indices, it's a great market to trade indices with, hey, we're going into this, 460 level, lots of buyers, lots of support on that level. Can we go lower? We can't. So we're going to bounce up to that top of that range. And that's been happening a lot. And that's kind of the focus of a lot of my trading.
I got a great question for you, but you were talking earlier on about sort of higher level, Andrew, and I'm glad you did that, talking about the yield curve. And we don't always get into that top end because we're talking about the equities moving. Now, when it comes to expressing trades, right, we usually do it in equities. I express even like Nat Gas, I'm looking at TEL today instead of the actual futures. But when you look to express trades, when you're looking at bond yields or when you're looking at something macro, do you favor the futures? Is it only options? Do you trade ETFs? What is your go-to in that situation? Do you even just look at something like a TLT? Like, what are you looking for? Because when something is important or you get big news, you want to know immediately, what is my vessel to trade when I'm expressing it?
Yeah, a lot of macro perspective in my trading when it comes to identifying which one, the long-term stock, what's the next sector, right? Everyone's wondering that. And a lot of times, guys, it's the ones that are beaten down the most. For example, with that correction, tech got slaughtered. And of course, when SPY was getting to those 416 levels, my eyes were actually on the QQQs. I was going, okay, how much does tech have in it? And it had a lot. So I actually got what they call leap contracts. For those who are unaware, just longer expiration options contracts. They perform, they're once again, very risky, guys. Options are a leveraged kind of asset. So you have to be careful with that. But I did get them for May expiration, as typically in April with a midterm year cycle as well. You can get a lot of volatility during these times. And I just played it safe. I could have gone June, right? But June typically is pretty red with these midterm cycles. It's kind of dropping in April, end of May. So I just paid for May. And that's kind of that.
Look, we're just showing the Qs chart right there. You get that bottom. It's just a more aggressive move and more opportunity than there was in the SPY. That's why we're talking about it. But I also love what you just dropped. You didn't say the line, but you could have said sell in May and go away. But that's what it's all about. When you're doing that higher level, you have to think about those sort of cyclical trends, and that's just not for the markets. You can look at that sector by sector, like maybe fertilizers, after spring, and then they can tend to slow down. People used to joke about Canada Goose. You only ever buy it in front of the winter. But I love your perspective, Andrew, and thank you so much for doing that with us.
And I will say that healthcare, if you guys are looking at anything for this upcoming cycle, if you look at these macro, economic market cycles, we are considered to be maybe towards the top, right? We have those interest rates looming. We have, all these things coming together for that bear market, but we still have more upside potential, guys. And we need to understand that healthcare, right? If you guys look into healthcare, we still haven't seen much from healthcare, and especially with the quarter end being soon, very soon, that you can expect that these institutions need to move their money somewhere. They're not just going to go stuff it in a shoebox under their bed. So they're going to have to put it into something. And I've been looking at a lot at healthcare, hasn't been moving as much. And we're still yet to see at the top. Healthcare does perform pretty well. So we'll look into that.
Oh, Andrew, because there's a stock I've been talking about, and I was buying. I actually bought some long-term in the 65s when Danaher reported, and it was good earnings, and they came back down to the low. Ooh, baby, they're right at that right in front of the 300 and the dollar price, and that 200 period moving average. So this is the one. Again, it's a stock. Actually, my wife bought it before I did. No word of a lie. Well, I kind of told her, but anyways, I like this one for potential break. But whether you're talking about UNH or some of these names, which maybe start to get going again, you're absolutely right. You got to get out in front of those sectors before they make that run. It's not always about reacting to it. If you can kind of figure out that next thing, then that's where you're going to be golden. And we've got a lot of, I'd say, gold from you here, Andrew. We can't wait to have you back. It's been another fantastic segment here.
Absolutely, Neil. Thank you so much.
And as we go back to some trading right here, guys, there's Apple. Bang with Apple as we go here. And we have Raider Trader on. Thank you so much for coming through. There it is, a nice little move upside on Apple, man. We take that break right there on VWAP, pumps it up to the upside, and a nice win going through on that one. And then, by the way, Mr. Softy, that's my favorite name here. And we'll floss that one off as well, as there goes Mr. Softy to the upside. And we took it out right there at 312.80. So another dollar winner there for Microsoft. And guess what, AMD? AMD finally starting to come to life a little bit. Let's see if it wants to go up. And all we're sort of doing right now is licking our wounds a little bit. And Andrew, if you're still there, I think he's still here. Where's Andrew at?
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone. Okay, see, Andrew. I was going to say, does he normally do stuff like this where if you're out of the money and it starts to come back in a little bit, you start to take things off based on your own opinion there? But too bad. I wanted to say bye to him, but there goes Andrew. Thank you, Raider Trader, for coming on TraderTV.live. And I know he did a TikTok thing with Trader Prad as well. So now Trader Prad going to be that TikTok star, not just a YouTube star, Trader TV Prad, now going to be all over TikTok as well. But man, trade the best names and get rewarded is about all I have to say. There goes AMD to the upside. There goes Apple to the upside. We're blowing up right now. What a good trade this has been today, man. As we're going to end the show, man, at our high. We're not going to end it. Still 15 minutes left. But we're going to be at the highest spot we've been at all day right now as AMD. Let's catch a bid. Run, young man, run. AMD right now starting to go to the upside. We'll see if we get out something in the 90s now. Big time trade here for AMD. Although we scalped some out, which now looks silly, but not looking silly right now. Our Microsoft trade, our Apple trade, we're cashing out right now. What a big day it's been. Thank you again to Andrew, Raider Trader.
Yeah, it was a fantastic segment. Market breaking back out to the upside. Like, remember we talked about 15,000? Like, that you can't really fight that.
Go B.
When you have a failed break like this, you break that 15, you come right back. That is a strong sort of bullish move. That's why we got out of Micron. Although, could have reversed into the long. Micron's at $80 now. Longeveron has spiked twice off of $9. It's essentially giving you $9 to $9.40, or $9.50, but not a heck of a lot more than that. But hey, if you can take 40 or 50 cents every single time in this, it's worth doing until it doesn't work, right? All morning long, it's basically the only trade you've been able to get in Longeveron. Maybe it can make that final run. I'm encouraged by the fact that it's putting in slightly higher lows the entire time. Each time you try to get this dip, it's a little bit higher, which can be good. Brendo? Or did you say
back higher. So
No.
a little discrepancy there, but big bounce right now on Bitcoin. A heads up for anyone watching stocks, crypto related.
Oops. There we go. Yeah, Bitcoin ripping up, giving people that money. And right now, man, we're going to end the show off here. Just absolutely rip city as AMD takes off to the north side right now, just ripping up. Here it goes, upside. AMD 114.30 right now and going. So this has been, what a fantastic little run here for these names. We were waiting. I should have stayed into Microsoft there, but it came up to these levels and we got out. Multiple dollar winners all over the place today. It's been a monster day, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. AMD, we just took another piece out there. Like, give me a break. It went to 114.30. That's exactly what we're talking about with AMD here, guys.
Yeah, exactly. And look, the market is still churning. It just got green, by the way. Like the NASDAQ just turned basically green by like 0.01. The ES trying to follow suit there. Micron, which I was talking about, I didn't actually show it to you. This is why you've got to be able to take your out. If you don't get out, sometimes you make the top wick and it sucks. But if you don't get out here and just get greedy or just get complacent, whatever it is, you're going to get burned. We still have levels on this name that were previous resistance. I'll show you here on the daily chart. Okay, that's your 80 to 81, your 200 period moving average. And when you zoom out here, there is still possible overhead resistance when it gets to 81. That doesn't mean just average in from 79 to 81. That means wait for 81 to come in. But there is one name that if it comes to the upside, I'm not really changing the plan on, and that's going to be Rivian. I think the bounce in Rivian is giving us an opportunity here. I wanted it at 52, so I'm going to hopefully let the market come to me. If we get a strong bounce, I want to short Rivian off these morning highs. We didn't get it at the open. I think the market wants to give us a second chance here.
Yeah, I'd be all over that short as well there on Rivian if it did come through. But right now, man, I mean, we are just looking at Apple with 50 cents winner right now. And again, these are kind of like one in, and I mean, same with my AMD. Like we averaged in twice to AMD. We got Microsoft once, and here's a one in again on Apple for you, breaking through. And remember, I was like debating about, do we want Apple, do we not want Apple, so on and so forth, coming through there. So pretty happy with the way Apple traded here, and pretty happy that we were able to switch the gear up and go over and find this name for you guys, because Apple definitely a nice move through that VWAP, and now 50 cents in the money. We're still holding 40% of it because that was a good out right there at the time anyways when it ripped up to 176.93. Now I'm waiting for Apple to get out right now. So if we can take something here on Apple, then we'll do that. 177.13 is where we're waiting at, which was right before that high. But maybe we take another piece out here as it's not super aggressive. I'm just waiting just around this high. Let's just switch it to like 117.06 here on Apple, because we can get out probably right now, and then we'll worry about a higher high if it does go up to the upside right now. So Apple 117.06 right now. I think we'll try to get offer right now and get out of that one, as AMD is ripping out $1 in the money on AMD.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to go back to a couple of things here, because we're going to get to Brendan in a second for Money Talks, and that crypto move, good bounce off those lows. TEL, which is, we've been sitting in it all day long. Remember we talked about the sort of simple trade breaking out of the high when Nat Gas went. It's still at the high end of the range on Nat Gas. It's turning around a bit, but we get that same 35, starting to already get it out here in front of 50s, and then again all the way up to that 565 price area. Here comes 80 on Micron, but there's one thing that we've been ignoring.
Wow.
Remember Tesla? So Tesla off that 1080 level. I know I mentioned 1080 and then didn't even look back at it. Look at Tesla hold the line at 1080. Now it's set up for, you guessed it, 1100. If we get a jailbreak, I mean, you're talking about holding the low, multi-day low, and then breaking at 1100 with room to that 11 So watch out for Tesla. Let's not sleep on it. It's not a trade every single day, but when it moves and gives you a good entry, it's worth it. It's always worth it to get to Brendan and see what's up in the land of cryptos and, other currencies too.
Hey guys, yeah, Money Talks brought to you by The Small Exchange. They're making it easier, guys, to get started in futures trading. Check out the link with the QR code at the bottom of the screen. There's less capital required. There's no pattern day trading rule with futures trading, guys. So check out The Small Exchange. Thanks to them. Here we go. A lot of people talking about the U.S. dollar. We'll talk cryptos, obviously, but I wanted to mention the U.S. dollar showing a lot of strength today. In fact, as The Ukraine headlines turned a little bit negative once again. So up 0.5% here for DXY. You can see bouncing off the lows. This is a daily chart, bouncing off the lows back above 98 there on a decent move. So everything else, the euro included, the Canadian dollar was up about 0.5% at one point, now back in negative territory. So volatility continues in both ways. British pound still holding on to a slight gain. It was a lot higher as well. Australia and New Zealand down here also in negative territory. Worth mentioning, big move in the Russian ruble when Russia came out and talked about that switch for natural gas purchasing from them this morning. So yeah, almost 10% there for the Russian ruble. Yeah, Bitcoin bounced off 45, big spike down, but we're headed back to the upside now. Just 1.2, 1.3 there for Ethereum, guys. Back over to you.
Sure, and you mentioned Coinbase on the move there. I'm not even gonna bother showing JD. I don't have a trade on JD.com, but my alert did hit this morning. So having the alert in is half the battle. Actually making the trade, going over the stock when things are busy and making the trade is the other half of it. But you mentioned Coinbase, and it's a pretty solid consolidation. You'd love to see it bounce more than this. If we get back to the upside, you gotta watch out for the fact that we have turned around off that 47, 48, right, on Bitcoin price. And that 200 level was pretty key, psychologically, but also once it tried to consolidate there in the afternoon yesterday, it just felt like an absolute rock. I think you get back into the 200 and it's likely a fade for me on Coinbase. But I wouldn't want Bitcoin to be breaking out. I'm still in square to the short side. The market's rallying, but there's nothing that's been invalidated about the square short or the block short. Unless it gets through 141, I think I'll be sitting in this one potentially all day long. And we'll see. I still think there's room past 135 into 132, 133. This trade's likely going to need the market to reverse on us, but it's still valid, so we're going to hold it.
Just looking at this ISPO, it's kind of at these lows here. So, 960, 970, taking out some nice levels there. I don't know. It does not really add anything actionable for me right now. So ISPO, I'm gonna wait on that, and I don't really see that much. Like, I always feel like when you're trading these runners like this, you got to wait for like breaking points. Maybe you fail back down here to 8. I don't think so. But if you're going to look long, I guess right now we're bumping up on this 10. So if you wanted to take a 10, which is the 50 period, that's not bad. But then, there's just so much cover in here where, I don't know. You got to look for where these big volume spikes are. They're definitely to the downside here today. So watch out for that play possibly coming through for anybody looking at that. But okay, that's that. Let's just keep on going here. That's ISPO. The other name I wanted to look at quickly, oh man, there was one and then I got distracted there because someone asked about ISPO and I don't remember what it was. It wasn't Intel. Again, AMD, we've already took some nice profit on that. And just to give you guys an update, we did get out on the high side of AMD as soon as it crushed upside there. We did have Raider Trader on and we were talking about that. So there it is, man. We did take that fill come through on us for AMD. So we got out of the majority of those. AMD now a positive name for us today, which is unbelievable considering how much we were struggling with it. Oh, that's what it was. It was just advanced micro devices from AMD to AMC right now. All of my longs would now be in the money, but we're red on NEO, but my only real red stock here today is going to be AMC because NEO was one in and one out. I still consider that obviously a red trade. It is what it is. But this one we battled with a couple times. We have 5 different ins here, and every time we took profit, but then it just kept breaking on us to the downside. So this is my most negative name here, not just because we were waiting for home runs, but it's just like it never got going, and all of our losses are like 20 cents and our wins are like 10 to 15. So it just happened to be that it didn't break out for us when we needed it to. Now it looks like AMC is starting to break out. So maybe there's going to be something here for the afternoon show, guys. But let's go over there with Miss V and Brendan.
All right, not a very busy board, not a very exciting board, but we'll make it official, guys. Here is the earnings to expect tonight and tomorrow morning.
Neil, the only man I know left with a BlackBerry, so...
Only it's not one.
Yeah, it's not what?
It's an Android phone.
Oh, Android, yeah, but it's a BlackBerry phone with Android software, right? So
you can't even call it a BlackBerry phone, though. It isn't, because it's just an Android phone.
But it's a BlackBerry phone. But BlackBerry made it.
No.
They didn't? It doesn't have BlackBerry logo on it?
No, but they have the logo, but they didn't make the phone. They outsourced to another company that produced an Android phone with some BlackBerry features. Anyway.
Right. It's a BlackBerry phone with Android features.
You can call it that if it's just not true.
Okay, what is the model?
I care about the truth. The Key 2 was made by another company.
But if I
They,
search up,
they basically licensed it out so that another company can make it, and it's powered by Android. When all BlackBerry devices went black,
Right,
the
right.
key did not because it wasn't a BlackBerry phone. Anyway.
okay, so
I'm just
Neil does
telling
not
the
have a BlackBerry phone.
I'm just
then.
keeping it real, man, because
Yeah,
they
yeah,
all
yeah.
died like
I
5
thought
months
you had a
ago.
BlackBerry
But you
phone.
can't actually have. They literally do not work.
Right,
If you have any model that is not the key, it literally doesn't work.
People are saying it's a Blueberry.
Oh, by the way, Tesla broke 1100. I didn't get it because I, for some reason, crossed 25 cents and not 50. So I don't know why I did that.
All right, put that back up there. There was BlackBerry. What else was there? Because BlackBerry right now coming down in $757 right now for BlackBerry. What were some of the other ones? I only saw.
It was Astra.
The ASTR, the one that was the, of course, the rockets going up in the air there that made it good. But BlackBerry, the reason why BlackBerry is a decent look because they do have a good short interest there. So you might want to watch out for BlackBerry coming through there right now. But all right, let's go. Yeah, it's a Chuckberry apparently. All right, let's go over there to Miss V. What day is it exactly?
Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day so far. Thank you for 2,000 likes. Thank you for all the support. And if you didn't like this video yet, please do so. And we will break that level and we'll get record amount of likes for the week. Join Prad and me right after, and happy National Tater Day, everyone.
Taters. Taters.
I like taters. I just
sure what
find that
those
a lot of
were.
times it's like you just get way too much of them instead of getting, like a more of like the main. You know what I mean? Like it just, don't get me wrong, man. When you're hungry and you know what I'm talking about, like the night after a fun time, yeah, give me hash browns, whatever it might be. But the tater's a little bit overrated, although they are a good vessel for ketchup. So.
Yeah, I don't mind the taters. Good for breakfast. You throw them there on the side. But yeah, man, everything's good, man. We're just a minute left to go. ASTR, BlackBerry, and then we'll see what else happens tomorrow on that front. Apple right now, back to those highs. We did get a little piece out when it looked like it was starting to break down. So now we only have 20% left of Apple. Let's see how far that one wants to go now to the upside. Hopefully pretty far. We need this thing to run for us. Mullen, just reviewing some of the trades we have. Mullen right now, again, Barcode Nation. We'll probably just wind up getting out of this one, but again, we have a very, very small piece of Mullen left. Longeveron was a great one for me here today. Again, we took it early, hit it out. We have high ticks out, so that's good. We're now flat on Longeveron. And then the only other name that we're working with right here is AMD, and that goes to 114.40 in stops, and now we're pretty light on AMD. So, another name that worked for us, but was definitely a headache. We may try to get back into AMD, but I'm done trying to deal with this thing. So if it comes back into my stop was just so you guys know, was obviously a break back down below this 113 area. So we may test it one more time if it comes back in, but it won't be on very many shares as I get the feeling this thing wants to break downside. So that's going to be AMD, but watch out for the bottom here if you are trading this name.
Yeah, and I'm very curious because we just got to that 11,000. I just took it was not a break trade because I didn't get it on the way up, but on the way back in here. So I'm very curious to see Trader Prad, but also Ms. V, because I'm sure she's been trading some Tesla at that 11,000 mark. So let's kick it right on over to them. I'm sure they're looking at this name.
Welcome to Market Movers. It is the last day of the month, but not of the week. We still got Friday tomorrow. Let's enjoy what we have of March left with us because soon we're going to go into January, February, March, April. April Fool's Day coming up soon. That's right. I had to jog through the months over there because still a child in my head. But
hey guys, welcome. Happy last day of the March, as Prad mentioned. Please, as usual, be active on the chat, ask us anything, and smash the like button. I hope you're having a great day. Looks like March